Hey, you guys.
Hey.
Hey. Welcome.
Longest intro ever.
Yes. Well, with a show like this, it helps.
I love that intro music.
Thank you.
I guess it's a truncated show tonight. Is that what I hear?
We are on for 2 hours tonight.
Yeah.
All right, so that means you'll be doing your guitar show early.
I will. Yeah, I'll cut it in the middle of the show like usual. It'll be a little faster than normal, but we have a lot to get through. We have a lot of stuff to get through today.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So welcome everybody. Talking Guitars and 80s Metal Live. It is July 7th, 2020, 8:11 p.m. Eastern Time, 5:11 where Jonathan Mancuda is, and Neanderthal and myself.
Yeah, it's weird. We're doing everything on East Coast time,
right?
Yeah.
The sun is still up here. We're still sort of in the middle of our day, and just so you know, it's like 114 degrees here in Phoenix today. So
wow,
it's gonna be 120 by this weekend. I wish I could tell you that was a joke.
Well, Jesus, it's like your eye water is steaming and the sperm in your balls are boiling.
Yeah, no, it's. I also wish I could tell you that his sisters took it easy on Andy Dufresne, but we know how that went.
Mm.
Yeah, neither of you got that reference. It's a Shawshank reference. Come on.
I love Shawshank Redemption. I didn't remember it though.
It's the prison rape joke.
I only saw the end of it. I
wish
never saw
I
the
could
rest
tell
of
you
it.
this.
You only saw the end. How'd you only see the end? Johnny got to the theater like 2 hours late. Yeah, we could still catch the last 20 minutes.
I only see the hour movie.
I only see the end of movies. I never see the beginnings. Speaking of movies, you guys ever see a movie called The Car? 1977, The Car.
Yeah. That was basically the movie that it was before Christine. When Christine came out, I was like, hey, they ripped off The Car.
I saw that for the first time last night, man, and it was.
I think it's like a mid-60s Lincoln, if I'm not mistaken. It's like a Lincoln with the suicide doors and all that stuff.
It's a super creepy looking car, man.
It looks like the old like what the Green Hornet drove around in.
Oh, the Black Beauty.
Yeah, kind of like that. Yeah, which was a Lincoln, like a 60 something Lincoln, 64, 65
Lincoln.
Lincoln.
With suicide doors.
Yeah.
That's funny. Let's read the credits. Let's get our balls rolling. Let's read the credits. Who are our executive producers today, Johnny? The big bosses.
The big bosses.
The big bosses. Here they are. Executive producers, the big bosses, the ones that hold our nuts in their mighty fists. Charles Green, Joe Christian, Music Therapy Laz, David Ennis, Thomas Santiago, Mike Neese, Connor Johnson, 5150, Michael the Captain Smith, some Dave Dude, and Steve Carmichael.
Steve Carmichael.
And let's do a
do we have another sheet, or is that it?
Or do we read the channel members at the end?
That's it.
That's it. Channel members at the end. So let's do a little roll call because you see a lot of names in the chat right now. The lovely Susie Cherry, Crazy Cook 678, Thomas Santiago, Hugh Caldwell, Ben Tom, Mr. BHB Jr., Jim Nicholas, Thrash Metal and Fun Riffs, Ben Tom, Blackjack Guitar Nut, Sandra Pocconi, Pocconi, me love you long time. Love that. Let's see.
I think it was actually in harmony too, which is even worse.
I know, right? Let's see. Jeff T, how are you, brother? Mr. Hellstorm 74, Chris Bevan, Jim Nicholas, Deja Voodoo, Jeff Cornell. Let's see. Steffi, Chris Bevan, Cobra Kai Platoon, Danny Alexandra, Shauna Marie Sings, Quentin James, Mr. BHB, read that. Papa Blue,
Alexander on Facebook.
Thank you. On Facebook, which I don't see the feed of.
Facebook as well.
Sean Zimmerman, Vistalite 1972.
Sorry,
hey, Jeff Alexander. Hey, brother.
Deja Voodoo just told me I'm being obtuse. That's a nice reference. Well done.
Obtuse?
Yes. I understand that Deja Voodoo probably cries like a little girl.
Like a little bitch, you are. No, we love you, man.
Like a little girl.
Let's see. James Gum, AI Gaming. Let's see. Amanda Coombs and Ben Coombs. We hope your mom is doing okay.
What happened?
She's.
Oh yeah, I remember. Yeah, she was in for a transplant. Yeah.
So we're hoping your mom's okay. Just a little shout out to your mom. Kelly, how are you? Let's see. Brian Spalding, Janice Lala. Hey, Janice. John Windsor, Nightbot, John B.O.
And the rest.
And everyone else. Actually, I have to give out. Oh, Mancuda's the dildo fucker is in the house.
Awesome. Love that guy.
Love that guy too. God, I love that name. And you know what's great? Look at his icon. His icon is a big neon pink dildo,
which is nice.
Which is great. It's comforting. It's home. Brendan Buttcheeks, how are you, brother? Okay, so look, I have a special shout out I got to give because we got some fan mail, and I said I would read it on the air, so that's very cool. Little postcard. I blocked out the address, so we're good. And the postcard is Chinese food because who doesn't love that? You know, I love Chinese food. Let's see. So reading it out loud, it says, "Dear John, love the show. Love the show. You guys are nice. You guys are so. Thank God we got one. You guys are so funny, and Blue Rhino is so cute. See, Blue Rhino gets all the girls. Yeah. Please say hi to me on the air, which is what we're doing right now. Your humor is so dirty. I love it. Paul is really fun. Paul is really funny too. And this is my favorite part. Johnny is fine, I guess. You can keep him around." So, that's
Thank
good.
you.
That's good. We appreciate that because it's actually Johnny's channel.
Yeah,
so we appreciate the permission to keep him around. Thank you.
Holy shit.
Yeah, that's good.
I think that's what he's going for, though. Like, if you know Johnny Beane, you know that it's okay. I guess we'll keep him around. Is really what he's going for.
I guess I could stay around, so that's good. And then she continues. Thanks so much, Vagina Lee. So thank you, Vagina Lee. Oh wait, I'm sorry. I'm reading this wrong. Wait. Stop the applause. I'm reading this wrong. I'm sorry. Virginia, Gina Lee.
Oh, Gina Lee. Yeah.
Gina Lee.
Yeah. I can see where it says Vagina Lee, though. I can see where you would say that.
Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's.
By the way, I love
Gina Lee.
I always love postcards because everybody at the post office can read what they wrote.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I've always loved that. Like I'm sure the post office. Oh, look, postcard. Wonder what the.
I think it went through my window.
This person writes like a third grader.
And I gotta take care of something. You remember last week, Bang Energy Drink sent us this lovely sign to display as part of my background.
Yes.
You remember that nice big Bang Energy promo sign? So as you know, Bang Energy.
They asked for it back already?
One of our sponsors. No, but they basically said, hey, we sent you this really nice sign. We'd like you to, display it a little more prominently or at least showcase it. So, okay, I didn't show it enough. So let's give the audience a closer look at the Bang Energy Drink sign. There it is.
Oh, nice.
So now we have a better look for the audience. So we are thankful to Bang Energy Drink, our wonderful sponsor. And, so like requested, I am showing off your sign a little more. There we go. I'll have a little drink. Delicious. Thank you, Bang Energy Drink. Thank you. So there we go. Always a pleasure. We really appreciate your sponsorship.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, so that was Bang Energy Drink. So there.
Johnny is laughing at something. Something is happening behind the scenes that we're unaware of.
Is someone under your table, Johnny? Someone under the board?
No, I'm just giggling.
He's getting messages. He's getting messages. We're being heckled.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're being heckled.
That's all right. That's okay. We love it. And our other sponsor, Swiss Picks, of course. Thank you, Swiss Picks. We love your picks. Thank you.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. Hey, did you guys get your Swiss Picks packages yet?
Nope.
The mail is so slow. I know Swiss Picks sent Johnny and Paulie more Swiss Picks, and thank you in advance, Pete over at Swiss Picks.
Yeah, thank you so much, man.
You know, the mail is so skeleton crew staffed right now. You know, they're really understaffed right now, so the mail is really slow.
I know. I was just at the post office actually.
Filling out a job application.
Yeah,
taking his picture down off the wall.
And Fruitcake Tony, yes, I see you, brother. I see you now. We did roll call. You weren't here yet, but there you go, Fruitcake Tony. I see you, brother.
Hey, Tony.
Snail trail mail. That's what they call it. Snail trail mail.
Yes.
So, Johnny, you were telling me before we started that David Lee Roth has something going on.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I saw this as well.
Yeah, which is very cool. Very cool. Paul, I'll bring it up. You can explain it real quick.
Paulie, tell me what's up.
So David Lee Roth there's an auction going on because the Navajo Nation, they're dealing with some serious issues regarding COVID.
Sure.
And so David Lee Roth has signed on to do an auction to benefit the Navajo Nation, which is, again, that's one of the things that's being, especially where I live in Arizona, it's a big deal. Arizona, New Mexico, that area. They have serious medical deficiencies. I mean, there's like their hospitals are kind of like the nurse's office in your local junior high school. You know what I mean? They don't really have emergency rooms or COVID wings so a lot of like people in New Mexico and Arizona that are on the nation, that are on the reservations, are having to be flown to places like Albuquerque or down to Phoenix to go to the hospitals to be dealt with. So Dave is putting together some stuff to take part in this auction. It's kind of neat.
That's very cool.
Yeah.
So what's he auctioning off now?
Just autograph items.
So like Van Halen albums and personal clothing, stuff like that.
Well, he's not the only one that's doing this. There's a whole bunch of people doing it. They've been doing it for like a month or so. And they're basically trying to get trying to raise like $100,000 or something like that. If you go to unitednatives.org, there's the hat that he signed. It's an interesting hat. You know how Dave likes hats. He's a big hat guy. I have hang on, I'll grab it. I have a David Lee Roth autographed pith helmet from 2002 when he was doing the Sam and Dave tour.
That's a cool hat.
Yeah. So hat there that he's got there is, it's a great thing, but like he's doing it. Sheryl Crow's doing it. I think the Black Crowes are doing it. A couple other things, but it's the hat. Oh, if you read the thing, it's Lone Hawk is the name of the hat. I don't know if it's the style of the hat
Lone
company.
Hawk hats. That's cool.
Yeah, Lone
Hawk hats.
Yeah.
So when you do that, you can flip one of Dave's actual hats onto your head. Now here's the question. I'm just noticing he signed 2021. And he also signed it, but point this out. He signed it David Lee Roth, not David L. Roth, not L. Roth. You notice that?
Well, this year sucks. I mean, why would you put 2020 on anything?
That's true. You don't want to curse the hat. You put the thing on, your hair will fall off. That's funny. What do you got there, Paulie? Let's see.
Oh, nice.
That's from 2002 when he did the Sam and Dave tour. That's his.
Oh, that's fun.
His David Lee Roth pith helmet. If you're going off to go off into the jungles,
safari with Dave.
Yeah. So that's kind of one of the cool dumb things that I have from Dave. And yes, by the way, cool. they've determined that whole David L. Roth thing was a joke. The whole thing was a joke, and it was interesting how many different media outlets and people picked up on it and thought it was real.
We did.
Well, that's the problem with the internet.
It's Dave. It's Dave.
The problem with the internet
is you really know what's going on with Dave.
Anybody can say anything and they'll believe it. So
yeah, but Dave is eccentric. If he said, "I'm going to cut off my penis now," I expect Dave to cut off his penis. I mean, it's Dave. He does anything.
He's a weird guy.
Mom? I always think that's my mother. Every time I hear a scream or a nag, it's one or the other. If I hear a disappointing, it's either my mom or someone sat on a duck.
Yeah, or it's one of those things that was like the cow in a can.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. You remember those sticks you could toss around in the 80s? It's like you kind of almost jerk it off. It goes ebba, 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 oh, ebba, ebba. Okay, good times. All right.
Well,
so
they Van Halen used that. Van Halen used that toy as the solo for "Why Can't This Be Love." It was basically it was somebody masturbating with one of those. Yeah.
It was probably me masturbating, and Eddie's just like, "What's that in the next studio? Record that. Record that." That's fun. So let's see. So all right, Dave's doing a good cause. That's cool. We have let's see. There's another cause going on to save independent venues, music venues, because everybody and their mother right now is affected by this virus. Everyone, and musical venues are scraping along. We were talking about the Troubadour a couple weeks ago, and right now a group of guys, a big bunch of guys, including Alice Cooper, Billy Joel, Ozzy Osbourne, Robert Plant, and Johnny could probably pull up the list. They're trying to save the independent music venues. They're making a fund so that they can basically get the government to donate and like small business loans, but not loans, but grants, basically to save some of these independent music venues that are just suffering right now because there's no music, there's no concerts.
What's interesting is you're going to see some of these stories that are coming around now. I think like Metal Sucks and a couple of these other ones, websites are posting stories about how certain bands took advantage of the small business loan that the federal government was putting out. And you say to yourself, well, why are the Eagles getting money from a small business loan? Why do they need money? The reality is they're taking that money actually and paying their road crews and sound guys and the truckers and riggers and all the guys that make the tours happen, because the tour is not going to happen. So essentially, these big bands are borrowing against their future earnings to make sure that the people that are out of work right now are going to get paid, which I think is awesome. That's what you do when you're a multimillionaire. Obviously, if there's an opportunity, everybody's losing money. Keep that in mind. Everybody's like, well, the Eagles and whatever other band you want to talk about, that, the stadium tour with Def Leppard and Motley Crue and all that stuff. Those guys can make money. Well, no, they spent a lot of money putting together the staging, getting the tour itineraries, renting all of these buildings and stuff. There's a lot of revenue that's been lost here. So the idea that they're able to take advantage of these loans, these small business loans, to make sure that their road crew and the truckers and all those guys that planned the next 18 months of their lives to make sure that they all have a steady paycheck, I think is awesome. So, I mean, that's before we see that, you're going to see those headlines and people's immediate reaction, just like as we talk about the internet, they're going to say, well, why does Pearl Jam need that money? They're friggin' rich. It's not for them. It's for their crews.
Yeah. And the stadium tour, especially, and we got a lot to talk about the stadium tour today, and a lot to talk about Live Nation and relating things to Live Nation. Let's start with Live Nation is basically having a huge. Let's actually start with will the stadium tour go on in 2021? Recently interviewed Phil Collin of Def Leppard. He says there's only about a 50-50 chance of that. And do you know why? You want to take a guess why? Anyone? Because
it's potential he'll contract coronavirus because he doesn't wear a shirt and he gets it through his nipples?
Oh, that's very close. That's
right,
very close. And we do have another nipple story in the news today later on.
Noted. All right.
Noted. Something to look forward to. Stay tuned. We do have him saying that there's only a 50-50 chance of the tour. He was talking with Nikki Sixx. And here's the reason why. It all depends on if you all out there listening cooperate and put an end to this virus by flattening the curve, by social distancing, by wearing your masks and all that. All because, again, there's not going to be a 2021 concert series at this level right now, at this time, based on where we're going. If we don't change, 2021 is going to be fucked too. So let's put that in our heads when you say, I don't want to wear the mask. Shut up. Wear the fucking mask. or 2021, we're not going to have a stadium tour. And he makes sense. It makes total sense. If this isn't gone, the tours aren't going to resume.
Yeah, I've made my point on it. It's real easy. One of the things the only thing that really aggravates me is people think it's a binary choice. It's either or. Either we shut down the bars and the restaurants and everything like that, or we wear masks. No, we do both for a short period of time, and we get to the end of this thing quicker.
Bingo.
It's such an easy thing to do. The logic you're using, that it's a binary choice, is, well, if my front brakes work, why do I need back brakes?
Yeah, and keep in mind,
if chemo works, why do I need radiation?
Keep in mind, this vaccine, Hope, even when it comes out, you don't know if it's going to be safe yet. It'll take months to distribute, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Anyway, we could go on for another hour and a half about this.
Right. But as we're doing only a 2-hour show today, I'm going to bang them right out.
Sure.
However, right now there is you can honor your ticket or a refund on Live Nation. So if you have tickets, they announced they're going to honor them for the same dates in 2021. So if you have a July 18th ticket for 2020, hold on to it if you want, because in 2021, it's going to be that same date at that same venue, assuming we can get this stadium tour back into the swing of it by next summer. So they're gonna match exact dates for exact venues, push it back
if they can, yeah.
Crossing fingers. If not, if you want a refund, you can get it from Live Nation. Now, speaking of, well, we could go two different directions. I'm going to go in the mask direction because we were just talking about masks. There was a Twitter war recently between Sebastian Bach formerly of Skid Row, now of solo Sebastian Bach, and Stephen Piercy of Rat. Yeah. And it basically Stephen Piercy started making fun of people with masks. He basically said, hey, it looks silly. It looks silly wearing a mask and everything. And he did the hashtag Unmask America, to which Sebastian Bach twittered back and said, don't be an imbecile. This isn't about anything but a health crisis. You're making yourself and other rockers look stupid. Wear the stupid mask. So Piercy goes back. He deletes it. And as they're going back and forth, Piercy's wife calls up Sebastian and says, hey, just so you know, Steven's account was hacked. Please go on the air and let everyone know that you're not really at war with Steven. And to Bass, he basically said, well, it's great news to hear this. I was worried that one of my friends and one of my idols was being stupid and blah, blah, blah. So I don't know what to believe, but that just happened. So Piercy basically is saying, and we could take him at his word or whatever, that it wasn't him. His account was hacked, and those tweets were made by some psycho. And Sebastian saying, hey, look, I was just defending wearing masks, and I thought you were being an asshole. And if you weren't, I take it your word, and I'll spread the word that you were hacked. But we'll never know what happened.
What were the rest of the tweets around that? Like, was everything like normal, or was it? Because normally, if somebody hacks a Twitter account, I've seen it happen. I saw Guitar World get hacked one time.
That was basically it. It was all about the masks.
Usually it's nonstop crap, like all of a sudden. They don't just fight with somebody.
Yeah, it wasn't
it's like blatant racist. It's just a torrent of racism or sexism or naked pictures or whatever it is when somebody gets hacked and stuff like that, unless they're trying to set you up.
That's what happened to Guitar World. I think it was Guitar World. Their Twitter one time, all of a sudden, was all these videos of like all of a sudden out of nowhere.
I find it interesting that Sebastian Bach pulls the asshole card on somebody else, because there are very few bigger assholes in music than Sebastian Bach.
Well, here's the thing. I mean, when I met him, and again, your mileage may vary like anything else.
Right.
Wally, I'm sure you have different experiences than I do. When I met him, he was cool as hell. We were having a long talk about
he's great one-on-one, but once he gets into public, it's like it's like a switch flips with him, and he's I don't know if he's intoxicated by the attention or what it is, but his public display, he's two different people. He's definitely bipolar, because you've been with him one-on-one. Quiet, down to earth, talks about music, totally chill. Put a microphone in front of him. It's like it's almost like he's hiding his personal his public persona. You know what I mean?
I mean, I remember years ago he had that incident where he wore that shirt, and this is back in the late 80s, where he wore that shirt and said, AIDS kills fags dead. It was a parody of the Raid bug spray ad saying Raid kills bugs dead.
I remember that.
And that backfired obviously in his face. So I'm going to basically give everyone the benefit of the doubt on this and hope that it's true that Piercy got hacked and someone basically, ran with the mask thing. And, Sebastian's giving the benefit of the doubt. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt.
The interesting thing, though, is, and this about Sebastian, anybody that's getting any attention at the time, Sebastian tends to go up and sort of needle them a little bit. And with Rat getting their train back on the track with that Geico commercial, it just seems interesting that now would be the time that Sebastian's like, "Ooh, somebody else is getting attention. I want some too." He definitely has that middle child syndrome where somebody else from his clique is getting a little bit more attention than him, so he has to step in. It's just sort of the nature. It's children do that. And somebody pointed out in the chat, Twitter wars are for 8-year-olds, and I couldn't agree more. It's ridiculous.
Yeah,
but it gives us something to talk about.
Twitter wars get you out there.
Right, that's the whole point.
The only way you get seen is by having a Twitter war with somebody, and those things they make them up. A lot of times they're fake. It's not real.
Yeah, it's all pro wrestling.
It's cooked up. Yeah,
a lot of times, and that did get everyone's attention. Everyone's like, "Huh? What?"
Yeah, when's the last time somebody mentioned Sebastian Bach?
But who's gonna hack an '80s rock star?
It is kind of a weird one, and that's kind of a weird topic to jump on. And I've already said we've talked about over the weeks. Axl Rose has been fighting very hard on the same topic. So he's in the public eye right now. And Don Dokken also jumped into big getting on Twitter and promoting masks and saying, if you're not, you're basically stupid. I mean, here's the thing. And mixing this with Phil Collin and Nikki Sixx's comment for the stadium tour, the bottom line is, if we don't get this stuff under control, that tour and all these others just aren't going to happen. They're just not.
And let's be honest, Mick Mars doesn't have 5 more years left to tour.
Oh, for shit, sure.
He doesn't. I'm guessing that the idea that they're doing the stadium tour, I'm guessing it's probably a 2-on, 1-off, or 1-on, 3-off, or whatever it is. He can't play 3 out of 5 nights of the week. He just can't. A, he's old as fuck. And B, he's still got the fusing, the ankylosing spondylosis, or whatever they call it, the thing that his joints are all fusing together. The guy's arthritic. He's having a hard time moving. He's another year older. We've talked about this before. The longer these things delay, the less likely we're going to see guys. We were talking about Ringo Starr just turned 80 years old today.
Wow.
Those guys, the Rolling Stones, Bill Wyman is in his 80s. Paul McCartney is pushing 80.
How is his hair still black, man?
Who?
Ringo Starr.
Just
Paul
for
McCartney
that,
looks like he's 100, and Ringo Starr looks like he's 65.
Right. Yeah.
It's the good hair color is an extra $1, so you got to go for that extra buck.
All those wine coolers in the 80s, I think.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. I mean, look, and just touching on it because they're talking in the chat. That age shirt that Sebastian wore, he wore it, in the 80s. He apologized for it years ago. I'm over that. And
that's long.
I'm a big supporter of LGBTQ rights, but let's just walk past that.
Don't order that shirt.
He's apologized for that.
People do stupid shit when they're young, and he was young and stupid and
That's
drinking.
It. That's
and, it. And just made we all did stupid shit when we were younger.
And then
that's not a life sentence for him.
No, definitely. And he's he's a jolly guy. I mean, he's
I'd forgotten all about it until you mentioned it.
Someone in the chat brought it up, and I remembered it. I remember when that shirt incident went down. I remember when that bottle incident went down, that he got hit on the stage with a bottle, and then he said, "Who threw that? Who threw that?" And he thought he had the aim to get it to the person that threw it at him, because the audience was like, oh, that guy, you know, and it's like standing back. Unfortunately, he didn't hit it right, and it hit the face of a girl, like an innocent
in Springfield.
girl. And it kind of cut her face up. He cut her face up, and he was devastated over it. He was so he just lost it. He was so sorry, and you know, obviously, he thought he was going to lose everything too. She was very understanding. She understood it was a mistake, but he was so guilty over it for years. For years, he talked about that. That was like the big regret in his life, was that, you know, he hurt a fan. You know.
And that's, you know, that's the unfortunate part that we don't think about, or we didn't think about back then, was, you know, you're on stage, and Axl Rose did it, and other guys have done it too. Where you're on stage and there are 15,000 people in front of you, and some guy hits you with a battery or whatever it is, and you walk off stage. So now 14,000 people have to suffer because one asshole acted like an idiot. And sometimes the ramifications of your actions don't really come back to you until after the fact. And with age comes a little bit of wisdom. For some people, it comes a little faster than others. You know, let's face it. Those guys like Sebastian Bach and Stephen Pearcy and those guys have lived a perpetual adolescence for the past 30 years because they haven't really had to be responsible for anything but going on stage for 75 minutes a night and doing their thing. So they don't live in the same world that we live in. So their idea of responsibility and adult behavior is not the same as ours. They're just different people.
Yeah, and they've lived a different thing, and
Yeah.
you gotta just relate it to that. We all make mistakes. That's all. My mother made a mistake. She didn't have my father wear a condom. Here we are today, and you guys are suffering. Thousands of people today are suffering because of my mother's mistake. So there you go.
And two people in the room.
Yeah, and you guys, and my poor Rhino. He's like
Rhino.
He could be with a much better owner than me. I mean, you know, someone like Miley Cyrus would probably carry him everywhere and feed him couscous, and you know, it would
Thanks
be
for
really,
nothing, Mrs. M.
Yeah, really. Thanks, Mom. Thanks. Should have just swallowed me. Anyway,
Hey,
Yeah.
she still can.
She's a Jewish mother. She doesn't do that.
Yeah,
She doesn't do
not.
But all of you in the audience should. All of you, just saying.
Yeah, once I learned from dating Jewish girls in the past not to stereotype, but stereotypes exist for a reason. As soon as she says I do, she don't.
She don't. Yeah. But in the but I'll tell you something.
Before she says I do, filthy.
Yeah, right. Before that ring goes on,
yeah, it's game on.
She's inhaling more semen than oxygen. She's like pounding cock, and marry me. It's like, all right.
She's doing the pterodactyl,
and then suddenly it mutates into, you want me to suck you? What?
What? You what? I don't have to. See this right here?
You see the ring? That's half your stuff. If I take it off.
You've already got me. What do you want me to do that for? Maybe you'll find some chicks at the office that'll do that.
Yeah, you bought the cow, and now it's out of milk. So
the milk is spoiled now.
Yeah, don't drink the milk. Why? It's spoiled. Sure is.
It's just cottage cheese now.
It sure is.
Yes, on your thighs and your ass. Why don't you get on that fakakta treadmill I bought you for Hanukkah?
It's in the inside of a blintz. It's that kind of cheese. You like blintzes?
My lactose intolerance kicks up, and sometimes my IBS.
Right now, my mother's probably bored and watching, and she like tuned into the point, discussing her not sucking dick. So it's like, thanks, John. Yeah. Your father's in the hospital on his deathbed, and here you are on the air talking about me giving oral sex.
I got news for you, John. She's still open to it.
Well, listen, I'll tell you something. If God forbid Dad goes, she better start sucking that dick again. Oh no! Now I've got to do that again for someone.
Do what you used to do 40 years ago. All right, grab my teeth off the dresser.
All right.
All right. Jesus.
F.U. Tone in the house. Hey, F.U. Tone.
Hey, Adam.
We love your products, FYI.
Yeah, like the Hex Hider. There we go.
Yeah.
Yeah, those things are awesome, man.
There it is. Very, very cool. Thank you, Adam at FU Tone. Jim Nicholas wants to know any update on my dad's leg. He's had multiple surgeries. They're trying to save it. Normally I would go into more detail, but we only have half a show today. So just 2 hours. So just know he's still alive. And I'd say kicking, but if he does, the fucking leg will go flying off. So no kicking right now.
Oh, that's awful.
You're on a need-to-know basis, and he has no knee.
Yeah, right. Right now, my dad's on his phone. Well, let me see what that moron's talking about now. Oh, I remember when your mother used to suck dick. Yeah. I remember that.
Johnny, I like your show. The fat kid's funny too. The kid in the hat can stay.
Yeah, that's. Yeah, Gina Lee was actually my father in a delirium. How do you spell Mel? Gina Lee.
We need to match that handwriting, I think.
Yeah, right. Let's see. Fruitcake Tony, it's not a celebrity guitar today. Today's guitar is let's see. It's associated with a celebrity, but it's not a celebrity's guitar. There's a clue for you.
Well, isn't every guitar associated with a celebrity?
Yes.
Yeah.
But that only narrows it down to tens of thousands. It's a cool one, though. It's always a cool one. I don't bring in junk guitars. It's cool. Brian S. wants to know, is there a Barbapapa segment tonight? For those that didn't watch last week, check out last week's episode. We did a Barbapapa contest. It was fucking phenomenal. There it is.
Really funny.
That really, there he is. Gene Simmons,
Yeah.
Barbapapa.
Gene Simmons,
Yeah.
Barbapapa.
That I think that was the winner.
That was the
Simmons.
winner.
That was the winner. And hey, if anybody wants to send in more of them, feel free. Send them in the Discord. There's a whole section, right for the Barbapapas.
I love that. I just love that. That was brilliant. And a strong runner up from Amanda Coombs, who came this far from it. That was a lot of fun. Janice Lala enjoyed that. Thank you, Janice. We all enjoyed that. That was fun last week. Gene, hey, listen, Gene will sponsor Barbapapa for a nominal fee. Won't you, Gene?
Nominal fee.
That's right.
I'd be more than willing to do it for a nominal fee and the fans.
We do it all for the fans.
For
We
the
always
fans.
do it for the fans.
For the fans and $49.99 at kissonline.com.
You know, Kith has some really good T-shirts right now with Gene and me and Barbapapa, but in Ace's makeup. So, because we pay Barbapapa less than we do anyone else.
Actually, I have to announce that we now own Barbapapa. He sold his rights to us for a nominal fee.
That's all it would cost for Barbapapa. It's probably a nominal fee. You know what's really funny? Talk about bad timing. Kiss's merch store, they're focusing on album by album. Don't you think right now, when everyone's trying to promote mask wearing, the album that they're up to is Unmasked? So
Yeah,
the shirts that are on sale right now, and the sales are not great because it's unmasked. It's like Kiss masks are selling well. Those are selling well.
If there's a worse Kiss album out there, it's The Elder, which I like. But Unmasked is awful.
I like Unmasked. I like Unmasked.
Ooh.
Do they have official masks?
They do.
Kiss? Hell yeah.
Kiss has some very cool masks.
Yeah.
Bring those up real quick, because we talked about them once before. They're really cool looking.
Yeah, no, they're good. Say what you will about Kiss. Their merchandise is much better now than it used to be. The
Unmasked mask is selling well. I love that. I want one of those. I want one of everything. I want a Boba Beatus shirt. I want everything.
Boba Beatus.
There it is.
So wait. So I'm looking for them. Their masks, though. They were the graphics were album covers, right?
There was Unmasked. There was a couple of group shots of the current lineup. There was the Unmasked album cover. They've been really, really busy with their merch lately because everyone's at home and we're all online looking to buy cool stuff.
Right.
They have a great merch store, by the way. Look, no one does merch as well as Kiss. They really do.
Well, it
spend
was
so
the
much
first
money there.
it was the first real brand I remember.
Yeah.
As a kid. I remember buying that cheap ass Kiss radio when I was a kid for $9.99, and it was essentially an AM radio with a Kiss bumper sticker wrapped around it. It was the biggest cheap piece of shit that you could buy. It was garbage.
They've had Kiss flip flops. I mean, Gene will put his name on anything. He's smart.
Yeah.
He's smart. And look, a lot of us are fans. I'd buy a lot of things with a Kiss logo that I wouldn't normally buy with it. Johnny, isn't there a search bar there? I know we came across them.
It should be under accessories, I'm guessing.
Look how cool that jacket is. That's really cool. Apparel.
There it is. There.
Here we go.
Yeah, I mean, I would think, they should have masks with the bottom part of their mouths in the makeup.
They have one of those masks there has Tommy Thayer on it in case you're bulimic and you haven't purged yet today.
I love the unmasked one. That's the one I dig. Look how cool that is.
I'm sure there's bootleg. Because I run a Van Halen group on Facebook, and people they post nothing but bootleg Van Halen masks, and I'm always deleting. Sure. I'm always deleting and blocking these guys, but
sure,
I'm sure there's Kiss bootleg masks of what I'm talking about, where it's just where it's just like their mouth, like
sure,
yeah, like Gene's tongue or whatever.
That's fun. That's fun. I saw someone sent some old photos of Kiss fans, and there was one girl with a Kiss bikini, and the top part was like the makeup, and the bottom part, like right at her cooch, was Gene's tongue. It was so funny looking. It was just like really, really funny. Fruitcake Tony has a Kiss mask and a Van Halen mask. Good man.
Look at you.
I see. That's the one.
Gene discovered the Van Halen mask.
There I was
in a club one night thinking, how can I capitalize on these poor local musicians? And I said to myself, Excelsior, I'm going to market their mask.
Exactly. How great would that be, wearing one of those into surgery? Like you're coming out of the ether of delirium from your surgery, and you look up and your doctor's got like Gene Simmons' tongue over you. Nice.
I have there's a guy that listens to our morning show here in Phoenix, who is a medical assistant for a brain surgeon. So they have us on in the surgery room while they're doing brain surgery, which is hilarious to me.
That is funny.
That a doctor finds our show to be soothing enough to have us on during brain surgery. And I'm wondering if I say something funny and he turns and cuts somebody's
carotid artery or something.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. And like all of a sudden I'm responsible for somebody's lobotomy.
By the way, Mr. Hellstrom 74 says it's Sophie's birthday today. So happy birthday, Sophie.
Sophie Simmons. Hello.
Yeah, that's the ultimate catch. She's so pretty, and she's got the world at her feet.
Yeah,
she's Sophie Simmons.
Yeah, she does all right for herself. She's also very smart, which is
always attractive.
You don't usually get both.
Yeah. She really does have like everything. She's a complete package. I love a smart girl. Anyone I've had a good relationship with was always smart. Minus the fact of dating me. They weren't that smart.
Everybody makes a bad decision.
They make mistakes. They make mistakes, but I love a smart girl.
And can you imagine if you showed up at your house with Sophie Simmons and you just looked at your mother and went, and she's Jewish?
Oh, my mother would start diddling her clit. She's so happy.
Yeah, she'd be like, oh my God.
Not Sophie's clit, my mom's clit,
Yuck.
Well, John, you've never seen my mother.
Where's
what
the
are you
thing
saying?
at?
Yuck,
The thing was already made. Where is it? Oh,
my mother would be like running upstairs. Hold on, I got to get my vibrator. I'm so happy to see you with a nice Jewish girl.
Oh my God, unbelievable! And she has her own money.
And I hear her father's
fortunate for you.
And I hear her father's a doctor. No, Mom, Dr. Love. That's different.
Totally different. Yeah,
not a real. That's terrible. Doctors make a good living. Yeah, she's fine, Ma. She'll do fine.
Well, but you should bring him over to the house. He'd walk through the door. I don't usually say things like this to girls your age.
Gene would come to the house and ask for the nominal fee to come for a home visit.
I believe a dowry is known as being common in your faith. Yes, of course. Here's my ex-husband's leg.
And here's some goats. We have 3 in the yard. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Could you imagine? Gene Simmons will only come to the house to meet my mother if she buys the vault.
If she buys the vault, yeah, I'll hand deliver the vault and my daughter Sophie for a nominal fee. That's
how he walks her down the aisle one day. It's like I'll be walking down the aisle with Sophie. Gene will have Sophie on one arm and the vault under the other arm. And I'll have to like slip him a check. Thank you. You know.
See, those are the masks.
What is that, Gene? What is that, Gene? Is that Gene's penis sticking through there? I'm just not. Look at Gene's mask. Is that his penis?
No, it's not his penis.
Are you sure?
He's Jewish.
Oh, yeah, it's too big. Metal Soda just said, how come those goats don't cut your grass? Thank you. Be funny. My mom breaks out a Barbapapa shaped vibrator. I'll be right back. Oh, it's great. Brian S just says it's Peter's penis. Yeah, Peter was known to have the schmeckle of the group. Nice. That's awesome. Okay, so that's Kiss masks. Let's
what I love is I love when you started the show 48 minutes ago. You're like, we have a lot to get to. We're not going to get.
Listen, I'm going to jam it down everyone's throat today like a big old dick. I'm just going to ram every story on this paper down. So let's see. How can we segue? So I'm trying to look what segues go into what. Let's see. All right, here. Let's segue this. We were saying that Dokken was getting involved in the Twitter wars of wear a mask and blah blah blah. Well, Dokken was also having a big interview recently and was talking about the biggest regrets of his career. And the biggest regret of his career was they could have been a big stadium band. Now, here's the logic behind it, and it kind of makes sense. At the time when Dokken was doing the Monsters of Rock tour, which was a big thing for Dokken. Now at that time they were filling stadiums. They were, second billing on arenas. They were a big part of the Monsters of Rock tour. They were getting a lot of exposure then, and they had a couple of really good albums constantly climbing in the sales. Their manager basically said, look, I manage you, I manage Metallica. I'm going to do the same strategy with you that I'm telling them to do. You're right there. You're filling stadiums. You can be total headlining big arenas, and I'm telling them the same thing. You just need one more album with one really good hit. And I want each to do it. And then both you guys are going to climb to the top and both headline arenas. And what they did with Metallica did the Black Album. And as you know, Enter Sandman, boom. Suddenly there were monster size. Metallica was already big to a point, but now they were like real big time arena bands.
Yeah, headliners.
Okay? Dokken, on the same page, took their momentum, and basically Don and George and all the cocaine in the band that Don wasn't doing but says everyone else was, he said, and we, just as we're going to go in and record another album, broke up. I formed Don Dokken, George formed Lynch Mob. We split the popularity, and we did not make that one album with one hit that probably would have put us in the same status that Metallica got when Metallica had their Black Album. We had some ideas, and we wasted it.
Dokken had more opportunities, too, because they had the song on the Dream Warriors soundtrack, which was a minor hit for them. So they were poised. Plus, they were far more commercially viable than Metallica at the time. The problem was twofold: egos, drugs, and the fact that Don Dokken really doesn't sing well live.
But you know what? They drew crowds. They drew a
Yes.
lot of crowds. So that I could see that. I could see that being very, very legitimate. And the thing was, Don said, you know what? I just couldn't get over the cocaine use. I couldn't get between the headbutting. It's like everyone compares, me and George to David Lee Roth and Eddie, and they broke up. So we broke up. And that's basically it. The difference is, Lynch Mob, they came out, they did okay. Don Dokken came out, and neither really rose to the top the way Van Halen had 5150 and had Eat 'Em and Smile.
Right.
They both took off with their own, hey, we're both legendary albums. We both hit it big time right now. And Don Dokken and Lynch Mob were just like, good, but not great, not amazing, not headlining.
They didn't write that song. They had to write a song that got them there.
Yeah. And they both, they both thought that together they probably could have hit that level. They probably could have.
That Dream Warrior song, that's the only one I really remember from when I was a kid.
In my dreams,
It's Not Love, Alone
Again.
Yeah, I mean they did have quite a few mid-chart type songs, mid-level bands.
I don't remember any of those videos like in the afternoon or evening, or was that more like
It's Not Love.
What do you call it? Headbangers Ball type of stuff where you'd see that?
Not even. It was on Every Day's Countdown. It was Headbangers Ball. They were in regular rotation. Dokken was very big on MTV. How many times did you see It's Not Love where Dokken are playing live on the tractor trailer driving around town?
My friend's in that video. My friend Pat's in that video.
Is he? Is he the driver or in the
No,
audience?
he's in one of the clubs when they go into one of the clubs and they have, everybody doing the It's Not Love, yelling It's Not Love. He worked for KMET at the time. And he's got like sort of almost like a lover boy curly afro type hair thing going. He's one of those guys like holding a drink going, "It's not love."
Gotcha.
Yeah. But that's his claim to fame. He's like, yeah, I'm in a Dokken video.
That's cool.
I'm sure
Burning Like a Flame was on a lot.
I'm sure somewhere a relative of me was getting the notoriety of being that fiddler on the roof guy at the beginning. You remember at the very beginning that fiddler on the roof, rabbi looking guy? I'm sure related somewhere.
Yeah.
John BL says he remembers Dream Warriors, but not much of the others. In My Dreams got so much airplay.
It's the same with me. I don't remember any of those in the chat. Do you guys remember Dokken videos?
No, here's the thing. That's Dokken's problem right there. They're not memorable.
Well, none of them were.
They're not memorable. They were big hit. They were big videos on MTV. They were on a lot. In My Dreams was on a lot. It's Not Love was on a lot. Alone Again was on a lot. Burning Like a Flame, and Dream Warriors. Those were all on. And Jesus, we keep leaving out Breaking the Chains, which was on a lot. Those were on MTV constantly. They were on a lot. The problem is they're just not memorable. The songs aren't that memorable. Dokken is a rung below Rat when it comes to memorable songs on MTV. You remember Rat, but you don't remember Dokken. And they're both at sort of the same level.
But George had that Guitar Hero right up there with Warren. And Steve Carmichael says he remembers the flatbed truck one. That's It's Not Love.
It's Not Love, yeah.
Let's see.
Hey, Steve Carmichael.
Breaking the chain. Steve Carmichael. Breaking the Chains. The Hunter, that was a good song, but forgettable.
But wasn't as one of those memorable songs.
In My Dreams got a lot of airplay. I see that every day, multiple times. But you know what? At that point, keep in mind, they came out with Beast from the East, which was a very good selling live album. Yeah. And at the same time, they came out with what was the one with Burning Like a Flame?
Back for the Attack.
So both of those were like charting big, and they were selling well. And then you had the Dream Warriors, the Nightmare on Elm Street. I mean, they were getting a lot of exposure. They
have no personality. There's nothing interesting about Dokken.
The fighting was interesting.
But there's nothing interesting about Dokken. There's just, I mean, and I love George as a player. I think, and I thought Lynch Mob.
George is it.
Yeah, I thought Lynch Mob, actually, the first 2 Lynch Mob albums had better songs than Dokken. I just think George was a better songwriter.
Well, make no mistake, between Don Dokken and Lynch Mob, when those 2 separate albums dropped at the same time, Lynch Mob was easily the better album by far.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he's a great guitar player, but Don can't sing live, and he's got the personality of a soap dish. He's very off-putting. There's nothing engaging about, like, as far as front. You talk about bands that have great frontmen. As much as I think Crocus is fairly forgettable overall, live, Starachi brought it. Kix is a great band and who had a great frontman.
Oh
yeah, just a great frontman. Dokken is not a great frontman. He was boring live.
But you know what?
So they had to rely on their music, which was pedestrian. Wasn't
I think it was better than. I think it was better than pedestrian. I think. Look, I like Don as a vocalist. Maybe he can't bring it live the way he does in the studio, but I think Dokken in recordings is a personal favorite. I mean, I love them.
I own all the records. I love the records, but there's just nothing interesting about Dokken. They're like, remember, they came up at a time when character mattered. Even worse bands that I don't think were anywhere near as good musically had some characters in them. Like, I don't think that Bang Tango are as interesting as Dokken is musically, but people paid attention to Joe Leste because he had something. He had something that people could grab onto. Dokken was.
So did Tommy Lee.
Yeah.
Climb up to the stage.
But nothing really interesting about Dokken. They just were a decent LA band that wrote decent songs. They were absolutely at the right place at the right time when it came down to the Monsters of Rock tour. They were right in the middle. They were the least interesting band on that tour.
But here's the thing,
even Kingdom Come had more interest than Dokken on that tour.
Come on, that's bullshit.
Get It On was a much bigger song in 1988 than anything Dokken put out.
Oh, no way. No.
Yes.
Agree to disagree.
I'll look that up.
I totally. Dokken's sales were way above Kingdom Come. Come on.
I'm not talking about sales. I'm talking about what caused people interest.
Most people didn't even know Kingdom Come.
Everybody that heard that song thought it was Zeppelin. They got
Zeppelin sounding clone compared to In My Dreams. No way.
Who moved the needle?
Who was on MTV way more?
Dokken was around a lot longer. I understand. No, well, Daly at the time, I bet you Get It On from Kingdom Come got more airplay than Dokken.
No way.
In 1988, absolutely.
No way. Dokken had 2 albums. Dokken had 2 great albums.
That song was bigger than anything Dokken put out.
No way. Yep. All right. Agreed to listen. Burning Like a Flame was more popular than that. I think totally. We agree to disagree. Look,
I'm looking it up just so that we can.
No. Go ahead.
I'm going to try to find the chart position on it to find out how big that song was in comparison.
Looking at the chat, let's see. Brian the Sound guy said, Kingdom Come on your face. I made that joke too. Had no interest.
Except they actually put out an album called Kingdom Come in Your Face.
Yeah, well, I always say on your face. I always say. Let's see. No way, Paul. Kingdom Come opened for Dokken at the Monsters of Rock. There's a perfect example right there.
Kingdom Come was a brand new band. Dokken was on their 4th album. That song, you know why Kingdom Come was on that bill? Because that song was lighting up the charts and getting people's attention. You know why Dokken was on that bill? Because Q Prime managed them.
Dokken was on that bill because they were a good mid-level act.
Yeah, they were a good mid-level act.
They had plenty of hits.
I mean, we're not talking about hits. We're talking about who had more interest at the time on that show, on that tour. Everybody was talking about Kingdom Come.
Sales, videos, and concerts. Dokken had all three more. So how can you say Kingdom Come had more interest? They were more
because they were the new band. People were like, "Oh my God, who's this band that sounds like Zeppelin?"
First album, it still was no way. Let's put it this way. You get Madison Square Garden, see how many tickets Dokken would sell, see how many tickets Kingdom Come. Kingdom Come wouldn't book that. Dokken would at the time.
Kingdom Come had only formed the previous year.
Right, and they're on a stadium tour.
They formed in '87. They're doing Monsters of the Rock in '88.
And they're on a fucking stadium tour. They didn't even play clubs.
How'd they do that?
At the bottom. Listen, great management.
But they're on a stadium tour.
At the bottom. You still can't tell me Dokken up there is going
to... Why wasn't Rat on a fucking stadium tour? Why wasn't LA Guns on a stadium tour?
They were on other tours. And look, why right now is
I'm not saying they're the bigger band. I'm saying at the time more people were interested in that song that sounds like Led Zeppelin than Dokken.
No.
Yes, it was a one-hit wonder, but it was a bigger one hit.
No. Look, it was a great song. It was a great song, and I bought the album. I like them. But you're taking an established band with multiple albums and multiple hits, and you're comparing them to a band. The only one I could say otherwise, like Guns N' Roses, sure, first album, they're skyrocketing, they're instant hit. Kingdom Come, they're a great opening act. They have interest. They're not in the level of Dokken anywhere near the way.
Dokken's highest charting song on the Billboard 100 was 64. And it was Alone Again. All right? Kingdom Come has one song on the Billboard Hot 100 singles chart, and it was at 69. So think about that. In one album, Kingdom Come performed just about as well as Dokken did on the Hot 100 chart.
One song versus, 8 songs?
You're still confusing the conversation. You think I'm trying to tell you that Kingdom Come is a bigger band than Dokken. No, what I'm telling you is in 1988, when that Monsters of Rock tour came around, more people were interested to see the band that sounds like Zeppelin than Dokken buried third on that bill.
It looks like it only took them like 2 or 3 singles, and then they got that tour.
Listen,
it happened like right away.
Opening act, and I'm not saying they didn't have interest. I know they had interest. What I'm saying is you can't compare them. You can't.
Sure you can. You have to compare. That's what we're talking about. The reason why Dokken wasn't as big as we would love to have them been is they weren't interesting. There was nothing interesting about Dokken. Kingdom Come puts out one fucking song that sounds like Kashmir, and the whole industry went, shit, put them on the tour. These guys are the next big thing.
But even visually, I can't even visualize what anyone in Kingdom Come looked like. Dokken, I know George had his skunk hair, and I know Don wore the cowboy hat with the fringes. He had a style, a look, at least I knew what Dokken looked like. Visually, they were interesting. I knew I would go see a concert. Kingdom Come, great opening act. That's it.
Dokken is a career opening act. Did Dokken ever headline anywhere?
Dokken did headline places.
They had a headlining tour?
They've had headlinings.
Who did Dokken tour headline?
They weren't having major arena fills, but they were like, Dokken and Tesla. I remember seeing Dokken as the headliner in places.
But in arenas or in theaters?
Well, theaters,
stadiums.
Everybody filled theaters, stadiums. I'm sure I saw Dokken as a headliner, but make no mistake, not to.
Did Dokken ever headline?
Did Dokken crazy arenas? No.
So Dokken never headlined the Long Beach Arena.
I've never.
No.
I know they've headlined over at not Nassau Coliseum, Jones Beach Theater in New York.
How many does that hold?
Let me count. Hold on.
No, the point is
decent sized stadium.
The point is Dokken is a mediocre band.
I think they're above average. I can't call Dokken mediocre. I can't.
Okay.
I can't. Like I said, let's agree to disagree on this.
I think they had so much potential and they never reached it.
Well, but there's the conversation right there. This is exactly Don Dokken's big regret,
Still
and
time.
his manager's big regret. If at that time, just what the manager had planned for Metallica that worked with the Black Album, he asked Dokken, "You guys get together. We're one album away from being a big full tour headliner. One album away. You give me one hit, and we're there. We're this close."
And they've been around.
That's the time they broke up.
They've been around for 30 years and have never delivered that album or that hit.
But again, it was the timing. The timing was everything. The timing was perfect. They were already headlining some tours. They were a big draw on the Monsters of Rock tour. And here they were doing basically the same game plan as Metallica did from the same management.
Well,
they
then
were one more album away, one good album away.
With somebody with Q Prime as their management company, there's no excuse for Dokken not having been a success. Q Prime, every band that Q Prime managed at the time was successful.
But this is the problem. They basically said, give us one more album. And that was the time they broke apart. And that was the worst timing of all.
But they had 3 big albums in the meat of the hairband era.
Sure.
Tooth and Nail, Under Lock and Key, and Back for the Attack were 3 big.
And they were selling very well. They were going up in
They were gold. They were gold. They never sold 1 million records during that period.
Tooth and Nail?
Maybe has sold 1 million by now.
Must have sold more than that.
Let's take a look. I'm looking at commercial success.
Go ahead.
Blah, blah, blah.
Go ahead.
That's what I'm doing. Okay. They've sold 1 million albums of Tooth and Nail. It says, and another 1 million worldwide. So they sold 2 million worldwide of Tooth and Nail. Under Lock and Key went to number 24 on the rock chart in My Dreams, on the rock chart, not on the Billboard Hot 100 singles chart.
Right.
Following a successful tour with Scorpions, Dokken returned to record Dream Warriors for the soundtrack. Here's the thing, after Dream Warriors, which by the way got a ton of airplay on MTV, we've already talked about that, right?
Right.
6 months before they put out Back for the Attack. They had an opportunity to be great. In fact, the Back for the Attack record charted in the top 20.
I'll tell you something else, and this is another big factor back in the day. Dokken was in every fucking issue of every magazine. They were pin-up all over the place. Kingdom Come was not.
Yeah, I understand that. You're still missing the point. Kingdom Come had something that moved the needle. Dokken was just another decent band. That song was a moment. That song was
one-hit wonder. One-hit wonder.
Yeah, but it was a bigger movement in all of that. People knew Dokken was there, and they're like, "Oh, this is Dokken. Oh, who's this new band?" Like, that was the question. Who's this new band?
Flash in the pan. Took 2 minutes.
Doesn't matter. It was enough to move the needle. It was enough to get people interested. Then once people saw it, they were like, "Oh, this isn't very interesting." But at least they got somebody through the door. Dokken never got anybody through the door. They had plenty of opportunities to do it, and they never did.
Disagree. Dokken was consistently growing. Like I said, agree to disagree on this one.
Sure.
The point is, they missed the boat. We can agree on that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They missed it.
Yeah.
Dokken could have been a lot bigger. They missed the boat.
I think they ended up in the 3rd tier. I think the first tier is the Def Leppard, Motley Crue, Bon Jovi tier. Mm-hmm. And then the 2nd tier is the Poison, Cinderella, Rat tier. And I think and Twisted Sister.
They're bigger than Cinderella. They're bigger than Cinderella.
Oh, I don't believe so.
Oh, I think so.
I don't believe so at all.
No.
Cinderella did headlining tours.
Cinderella had a lot of hits.
Dokken also had a lot of hits. All right, let's even say they're at the same. I'll put them at the same level, Dokken and Cinderella. You can't tell me George even has his signature guitars, and I mean, a lot bigger than you give him credit for. But let's put it this way: we can agree they didn't make the A tier.
Yeah, that's for sure. They certainly did. No, they did not. And that's the sad part, is because I think Pilsen is a great singer, and does great harmonies. I mean, his harmonies are to Dokken what Michael Anthony was to Van Halen. He did bring a lot of highs and covered for a lot of Don Dokken's vocal deficiencies. he was a guy that made Dokken sound a lot more melodic, because Dokken doesn't have a lot of range and he doesn't have a lot of power. Decent singer, but not a throat, not a belter, not a Graham Bonnet, not an Axl Rose, not a guy that's going to come out there and hit you with his vocals and have people go, oh my God, listen to that voice. Decent voice, nice. But when you heard the harmonies in Dokken, a lot of that was Pilsen. Pilsen is a fantastic singer.
Yeah, and again, it's just like Van Halen with
Michael
Anthony,
Michael Anthony, yeah. No, so all right. So with all that said, so Dokken is coming out with a
finally.
Here's the hanger. Dokken is coming out with a Lost Years album.
Yeah, this seems like it's going to be interesting.
78 to 81, and keep in mind there's some good material in there that we haven't heard. There's early recordings of songs we have heard. There's some things you've only been able to get as B-sides on bootleg imports. So there should be some really cool raw footage on that disc.
And my guess is Juan Croucier is on some of that too.
Yes.
Which makes it more interesting, because Juan is a decent songwriter and player.
Yeah, and so there you go. So that's the big Dokken regret, and the Lost Years album, August 28th is the release for Dokken, the Lost Years. So I'm looking
after all of the shit that we've been talking for the past 20 minutes, I'll go and buy that record. I'll absolutely. I own all the Dokken and all the Lynch Mob shit. Make no mistake about it. I got it.
Oh, same here. Same here.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And everyone loves George Lynch. So who knows?
George Lynch, man, he's one of the guys that made the 80 AMP1 worth buying.
And someone was asking in the chat, why does George Lynch and Warren DeMartini sound similar? They came up together. They were roommates together. They're best friends.
And they both used that 80 AMP1 through Laney guitar setup.
Yeah, they share gear often.
Yeah.
They learn from each other a lot of stuff. So there's similarities in both of them. Both amazing players.
Almost identical tones, guitar tones.
Very, very similar.
And awesome, by the way. Both awesome guitar tones. Two of the better guitar tones of the era. 80s. What I love about George Lynch is
everything.
Super. Yeah, I mean, as a player, tone, style, the fact that he's self-taught. Can't read music. Again, another one of those guys that gives hope for guys like me who can't read music, have no musical talent whatsoever. All you have to do is put some time into it, and you can be good. George Lynch is a great example of a guy who busted his ass to get good at his instrument.
And Paul, you give me hope as well, because if you can do it, I could probably do it. I'm hoping. You're an influence on me. You're an influence on me.
Up. You are the fart beneath my wing.
We need to see a guitar duel.
I was going to say you should probably get that guitar out. We're an hour and 15 into this.
We'll cut it at we'll do the guitar at 1.5 hours, and then we'll keep the last half hour. We'll keep doing music news. Let's touch also real quick. I didn't mention we were talking Sebastian Bach earlier. Rumor back and forth, and again rumor. For the Slave to the Grind album, 30th anniversary of Skid Row's second album, there's rumor that Sebastian says, hey, I'm open to getting together and doing shows for that celebration of that 30th anniversary. Will it happen? I don't know, but just it's out in the atmosphere now. That's being talked about.
The big bitch between two camps there, as I understand it, it's Rachel and Sebastian. It's those are the two that apparently don't love each other very much, because I've had the opportunity to talk to Dave Sabo on several occasions. He works for Doc McGee.
Right.
That's his day job. And Dave, super nice guy. In fact, everybody in Skid Row are nice guys. And again, my experiences with Sebastian one-on-one are great. Put a camera in front of him and he becomes a different guy. But when talking to those guys, the impression that I get is that Rachel and Sebastian, just they're oil and water. And like we were talking about, like just what I was saying, one-on-one, getting in a room with Sebastian is fun. Sebastian gets on stage and he gets a little David Lee Roth in him. And that's where the other guys in the band are like, Jesus, if Sebastian could just get up on stage and do his thing and be respectful and not be an asshole on stage. You know, Sebastian has a little bit of Johnny Lydon in him. He's got a little bit of punk in him.
I like that wild side of Sebastian. I think that's what makes him Sebastian Bach.
When it crosses the line, though, I think it goes, you know, he has and continues to sort of cross the line. Plus, his drinking didn't help in that situation. I think it's him and Rachel.
Though. That was so wild. I should also mention, I've never met Rachel Bolan. I know he's like one of the main songwriters of those albums, but I've never met him, so I can't judgment on him. He
takes it very seriously.
Bass is just a fun guy, and I love that about him.
Rachel Bolan is a lot like Nikki Sixx. He takes it very seriously. He's a businessman. The band is important to him, and he wants it.
Businessman too.
Yeah, but Snake is laid back. He's way more laid back. Rachel's not laid back. Rachel's a pretty intense dude, and that's not a bad thing. You know, you got to have somebody in your band to bring balance, and I think that's what Rachel's job is. He's the guy that sort of keeps the band in order.
And with that said, I have to say, I think Sebastian Bach is one of the best frontmen of the 80s. I have to give
absolutely. And one of the great voices.
Absolutely.
A phenomenal voice. I mean, really.
I just like him. I just like him a lot.
Yeah, really phenomenal voice. Could have been Bon Jovi big.
And by the way, let's go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, could have been so much bigger. Skid Row was a better band than they ever got credit for. Another example, kind of like Dokken, where internal bullshit derailed them. Because Skid Row should have been tier 1. Should have been a tier 1 band.
With an out of the gate album like that first one.
And the second one was even better.
And the second one improved on what was already amazing.
Yes.
And then wait, hold on one second. Hello, Caleb of Nerd Halen. Welcome to the chat. Love you, brother. Okay.
Yeah, and then what happened with Sebastian? There's an argument to be made in this one that they were managed by Doc McGee for those first 2 albums. That was part of the deal when John Bon Jovi helped them get their record deal. He got points on the first 2 albums, which means he was financially compensated based upon the success of those first 2 records. I'm just explaining that to people in the chat that may not understand what that means.
Sure.
And then on the 3rd record, neither Doc McGee nor John Bon Jovi benefited. And you saw they didn't get the push. They didn't get the attention. Plus, grunge happened. But Thick Skin's a pretty good record.
Skid Row, their first record was just incredible out of the gate.
Yeah.
And then Slave to the Grind, it was harder because they saw the writing on the wall. The scene was getting a little harder, and they accommodated it. And if you listen to Slave to the Grind, it's such a good fucking album too. And then you get to the third one, Subhuman. Was it Subhuman Race?
Subhuman Race, yeah.
Subhuman Race.
Subhuman Race was.
It's okay. And it was timed horribly. It's a decent album. It's not the level of the first 2, but it's definitely worth getting. But again, bad timing and an average effort compared to 2 amazing albums.
Well, and again, it didn't help that when that record came out, the biggest thing on the radio was Stone Temple Pilots' Sex Type Thing and Even Flow and Outshined and the first Tool record with Sober. I mean, those were and the Black Album and some of those other things were. I mean, the Black Album lasted for years before they put out Load.
The Black Album was a little earlier though.
It was, but they were still milking it. You were still getting Wherever I May Roam and They were 8 singles deep into that record 3 years later.
Mm-hmm. It's still on radio.
Into Another was the single off of Subhuman Race, and it was really good. And they also put out a punk EP called Beside Ourselves, also very good. Skid Row was a fantastic band. You were talking about how much you liked Dokken. I wish Skid Row had been able to keep their shit together and had been, because that was a good band that
it's a great band.
Came a little too late and got a little bit pushed aside a little too early.
Big time. And if it does wind up that they get together for, a one-time show or a series of shows or even clubs or whatever, when all this shit clears up, because I don't know when that statement was made, might have been before this whole, COVID thing blew up. At that point, I just hope at some point to see them together, because Sebastian on his own with a great backing band, similar to Skid Row with a different frontman, not the same, but together just one more time, I'd absolutely fly out to see that show.
the suck part about that is in that situation, a good guy would get screwed because Rob Affuso says he would do it. And he was the original drummer. And the drummer for Skid Row now is a guy named Rob Hammersmith, who is one of the nicest guys in the world. And it would suck to see a guy like that get sort of pushed aside for Rob Affuso to come back in. I get it.
It would be a temporary thing. It would be a temporary
hopefully, it would be a thing where he doesn't end up like, Bruce Kulick and a forgotten member. You know what I mean? Because
John Levin of Dokken.
Yeah, it would be great. I just think it would be great. It would be great to see the original Skid Row do one more tour. It'd be awesome to check it out. I just hope, and only knowing what I know about Dave Sabo, I don't know Rachel well, but I've met Sabo enough to know that I think he would want it to be cool. Like he's not a confrontational guy.
Sure.
I would hate to see Hammersmith, who has been in that band for a long time and has toured and kept the backbeat in that band and all these tours and put his time in. I would hate to see him cast aside because they bring in the original drummer to do one tour and then just, you know what I mean? That would suck.
It would be a tour. I don't even think. I think if anything, it would be one show or a couple of shows. I don't think they do a whole tour based on an album that came out, 30 years ago. I don't think they could. Even if things were normal and there was no cancellation of it, I don't even think that could support. But do I think they could do one New York show, one New Jersey show, one LA show?
Maybe a DVD, that kind of a deal. Yeah,
like an event.
Yeah.
They could do a live stream.
7 shows together with
something like that. Sure.
The live streaming thing is.
Do like what Dokken did in Japan.
Yeah, well, that's what I was saying. 7 shows.
Yeah.
Levin is not included in this one-time project. John Levin, great guy, amazing guitarist, member of Dokken, but just sit out this 7-show little event.
Right.
And then you're back to being the normal guy in the band. Bruce Kulick, whole different story, full-time member, probably Kiss's longest running guitarist for a while. And, they came to an agreement and Bruce is a total gentleman about it. And, they're friends and whatever. But you know what the deal with that is. Like, I won't even go into it right now. So that's as far as that goes. Moving on. Okay, let's see. Quickly, Ozzy Osbourne is healing up from his surgery. We're happy to hear Ozzy is on the mend. If anyone in Ozzy's camp is listening, we're really glad to have.
For you.
What happened to him?
I just said, and then shot at the thing with that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so that explains it all. And if you ask Sharon, it's something that cost a lot of money that she will be suing someone for. So
the interesting thing was today there was one of the websites reported that Nikki Sixx has heard that Ozzy is not doing well health wise, but that's speculation at this point. I don't know how much
he was on the talk with Sharon.
Yeah, and
talk show,
and he was talking about how Ozzy's not doing well. And one of the metal websites reported it as Ozzy is sick. And of course, that's typical. That's what the internet is all about, as Johnny said so long ago. Create a little bit of turmoil when people start talking about you. So I'm not going to reference the website, but
that's what it's all about.
Yeah, but that's what somebody had mentioned that.
By the way, Caleb brings up a really good point. Dokken had 1 million reasons to play those 7 shows.
Absolutely. That's what brought Extreme back together. Extreme went over to Japan and played 7 shows for $1 million a pop, and now they're back together and putting out new music. So
hey, listen,
if that happens, that'd be great.
COVID aside, just letting you guys know in the Skids camp, I'm there. If you guys in Bass can put it together, I'm there. I'll promote the fuck out of it. Believe it. Yeah, so that's that.
There are certain bands from back then that I would love to see reunite. Skid Row is one of them. Cinderella is another one. I wish those guys would get back together. Rat would be great. Yeah, I mean, there's about a half dozen of those bands. Blue Murder, I'd love to see Blue Murder do it again. Some Salty Dog. I thought that band was awesome, but they were
okay. They're okay. Nothing against them. They're average latecomers, little band.
Yeah.
And Paul, what did
I bought the album? But
what did John BL send? Is that real? Did you click on what he sent in the chat?
Hang on a second.
I don't know, because I'm not going to click on it because it's a weird looking link. Did you click on that?
Greg Templeman's new book? That's not.
Oh, that's
Greg Templeman.
That's a terrible. I can't believe that would be real. It's basically, it's supposed to be clearance to buy drums, real cheap drums. My guess is that's a Chinese site. I don't believe that that's real.
Yeah.
I probably just downloaded 19 viruses.
Great going on in China right now.
That's why I wasn't going to click on that.
Yeah,
John
I
BL,
probably-
you're okay though, right?
Anything right now from
He's
China.
out of nowhere, he sends this link, and I don't know.
Yeah.
That's not John BL was hacked by the same guy that hacked Piercy's
Yeah.
account. He's on John BL's account now. He's done with Stephen Piercy. He's hacked John BL's account. That's great. Let's see.
Thanks for doing that to me, Johnny.
Let's see. I'm gonna quick bang a couple of stories out. Condolences to the great Charlie Daniels. Devil went down to Georgia. Not metal, but hey, much respect to Charlie Daniels. Died at age 83. Sorry to hear that.
It was time.
Rob Trujillo, who I've often called on the nice half of Metallica, along with Kirk Hammett. Rob was
Robert Trujillo.
That guy. That's the guy. I can never get his name. It's like
I didn't know who you were talking about for a second. I went to Robert Trujillo.
Rob, if you're listening, I'm so sorry I butcher your name. It's that same thing where you're at a Mexican restaurant and you're like, yeah, I'd like the fajitas.
Fajitas.
Yeah, I get it. All right, fajitas. Yeah, the vaginas.
You could just call him Stymie. That's what they called him in Suicidal Tendency. He was just Stymie.
Ote. No, he gave a nice interview, and this is exactly what I'm talking about with him. He's always so nice, so humble, and a talented fucking hell of a guy.
Yep.
He's basically in the interview just praising Cliff Burton, and he's just praising what's his name? Brain fart. Jason Newsted. And he's basically sitting there just saying, look, I'm not them. And Cliff was just an amazing stage presence, which he was. I was lucky enough to see Cliff live, and he was amazing. But he's sitting there just basically saying Cliff was just so amazing, and Jason brought the meat and potatoes of the later years. He's so good. I'm not Jason, but I'm doing my best, and I'm trying to make the fans happy. This is the type of guy that is. I think that definitely deserves a shout out from me to him. So Rob, you're awesome.
He's been in the band for 15 years. And he's still the new guy, and people talk about the other
2003,
2004.
Okay.
Yeah. So 15, 16 years. And he's still, and here's the thing about Robert Trujillo. He didn't need the gig. I mean, don't get me wrong. Metallica was he was Ozzy's bass player at the time. Metallica, obviously the biggest band in metal, and the biggest job you could possibly get. But Trujillo didn't need that job. Trujillo was Ozzy's bass player. Trujillo was already a known quantity. Like Billy Sheehan, was a guy that everybody knew and was always going to have work. So when he got into Metallica, it was great. I felt like Metallica made the right choice, not because he was the right guy for Metallica, but they were the right guys to showcase him because he deserved that band. He's that good. Robert Trujillo might be the best musician in Metallica. He's a phenomenal bass player. He's a superhuman guy, one of the nicest guys in the world.
Really nice.
Really deserves this. And yes, he had time in Suicidal Tendencies. He was Suicidal Tendencies and Infectious Grooves bass player.
That's what I remember him from, is from Suicidal.
He was in Black Label Society for a while. He was Ozzy's bass player. The funny thing about it is when Trujillo got into Metallica, it was right before the Ozfest tour, that next Ozfest tour in 2003, 2004, Ozzy needed a bass player. So Jason Newsted went and played with Ozzy and played on that Ozfest tour. So essentially they
swapped like a wife swap. Yeah, it's like a wife swap.
They swapped positions, which again, Newsted didn't need that gig. Turns out he needs it now. But he didn't need that gig. He still has Black Album money. He's doing just fine. Thanks for asking. But the idea that a guy like, if they'd had picked an unknown bass player, I don't know if Metallica would still be around today. I think Trujillo was the right guy at the right time for the right band.
He's just got a good attitude in a band.
He's just a great dude.
Split between good attitude and bad attitude. It's like, I go on this. If you regularly watch the show, I go on this. Kirk is over here and Rob's over here on the nice guy side, and then you have James and Lars.
Hey, it's Lars. See, I have no problem with Lars. I've always had a good time with Lars, so I'm the exception to the rule. I guess that I might be an asshole.
I like you.
I'm just saying I might be an asshole. Like if everybody says Lars is an asshole and I get along with him, maybe transitive logic applies, and maybe I'm an asshole.
Well, listen, even our fan that sent me a postcard said to hold on to you. Johnny, you're on the chopping block.
Yeah, Johnny, you're suspect. You're
suspect. All right, let's watching the clock just so we could get a 2-hour show in.
20 minutes.
I got a couple of. We don't got 20 minutes. We got a half hour. We have a half hour. You watch your clock.
28 minutes.
All right. Well, here we go. I'm gonna save the rest of these. We have some very cool metal stories in the news coming up, including probably the biggest story of the last few weeks coming up. But first, it is time for Show and Tell Guitar, the guitar of the day. I'm not even going to take guesses. I'm just going to break it out. Ladies and gentlemen, for time constraints, today's Show and Tell Guitar is the best shredders of the 80s. Look at that thing.
Amber, look at that.
Now, look, I love BC Rich Gunslingers. It's one of my favorite shredder guitars of the 80s. And this is one of my favorite graphics. I have a bunch of these. And of course, I show them on the show back and forth, different ones. I've had CC DeVille's guitar on that has a similar graphic. This is a Patrick Nagel graphic of a Nagel girl. And these come in all different colors and angles and whatnot. And this is another one out of my collection. I love these. Drawn by the great Dan Lawrence. Some were done by Dan Lawrence. Some were done by Glenn Matejal over BC Rich in the 80s. These weren't very plentiful. I have a bunch in my collection because I've been really looking for them. But a lot of these stopped being made after they got a cease and desist order from the estate of artist Patrick Nagel, who died in 1984. BC Rich made less than 100 of these with the Nagel graphic, and I happen to love this one. This one is a mix of green and aquas at a neat angle.
Do you have the Rio graphic?
Well, the Rio graphic was done for Duran Duran on their album cover. So this is they did a lot of different Nagel girls. This is probably the one you most see because CC DeVille had the first one with her on it and, popularized it when you saw him with his guitar, which I've had on the show before, remember. His was a mix of pink and this one being green and aqua. And again, BC Rich Gunslingers, fast, maple necks, great pointed headstock, D-shape to them. Oiled neck. There's the back, and you have that famous gunslinger cutaway right there. Give you a little extra fret access in the uppers. But look how beautiful that girl is. I love these things. I really, really dig these things. And again, they're an acquired taste, but they're my taste. So there you go. What do you guys think? You like that? Pickup, by the way, is an old EMG, which is not standard. Usually they had a DiMarzio Super Distortion in there. And you have the licensed Floyd. Check that out. There you go. And so, Brian the Sign Guy wants to know, is it a great guitar? You bet they are. These things are fast. They're fun. They're really, really good looking. And I love the reverse headstock shape on these BC Riches. They're pointed and angled really, really good. They're not just a sharp angle like a Jackson or an ESP. I love the kind of contour. Looks like a deadly weapon. And I'm sure it's taken out many a bass player's eye on stage, unfortunately.
So how many people have compared it to Duran Duran yet?
Johnny.
Yeah.
Johnny, guy we might have to get rid of. That guy, Johnny.
Yeah, that I kind of figured he would. I had to go to the bathroom, so I stepped away for a moment. But yeah, it always reminds me of the Duran Duran Rio years or something Andy Taylor would play.
Yeah, because that is Patrick Nagel. The Rio album cover from Duran Duran was Patrick Nagel. Keep in mind, Jackson, Dan Lawrence started doing this type of graphic at Jackson with other Nagel girls, not this particular one. and I don't know all their names and stuff. You can look at, a Patrick Nagel artwork book. All the girls are named. Most of their images were published for Playboy magazine. Hugh Hefner used to commission Nagel paintings to be done and then publish them in Playboy. And, years later, you saw them all over the 80s. But for guitar-wise, Dan Lawrence brought them onto Jackson's. There's the Rio, the album cover. Dan Lawrence brought them on to some Jacksons. When him and Glenn left to go to BC Rich, they started doing Nagel graphics over there. And this was the one that they did for NAMM. CC DeVille saw it, said, I gotta have that guitar.
I gotta have that guitar.
And he did.
Hey, give me that guitar.
Hold on. Let me grab it.
I think the thing about this guitar is it's so good, and I'm here playing it. Hey. it's CC DeVille is the Gilbert Gottfried of hair bands. I would like to say that is there something that I could put in this hand that would replace the mountains of blow that I've been doing in the Hollywood Hills?
No, he is basically Anthony Fauci as a little kid. So and here's a photo, by the way, of CC with the original one at NAMM when he first got it. And this is a guitar, again, I featured on the show before that I own. That was the first one that BC Rich did. And there you go. So from there, they became popular. They did a bunch of them until cease and desist, and then they stopped thanks to the Patrick Nagel estate. But these guitars are gorgeous, and they're great players. I've always loved gunslingers. I own over 70 of them, and I really do love this particular graphic. So if anyone wants to sell one, yeah, they're really cool. So there you go. That's today's rushed guitar show and tell of the week, because we're on a time constraint today. And if you like this guitar, leave a thumbs up, leave a like on the video, please. So we have a lot of people in the chat. Take a second, leave a thumbs up. Let's get back to music news. What's that heavy breathing?
That's my dog.
Oh,
it's my dog.
Ah, where's the dog? Well, it's certainly not Blue Rhino. It's certainly not Blue Rhino. He's nice and quiet, right?
Or Ned.
The dog.
Oh, just want to read the music news. There you go.
Blue Rider beat us.
Yeah, and again, BC Rich Gunslingers, they were made pretty much in the USA, 1988, 1989, and then BC Rich got bought up by Class Axe, and they were making them of a different quality and then started overseas. So the ones that I collect that I'm usually bringing onto the show, 1988, 89. So there you go. And thank you, Senator Picorni. We love Blue Rhino. We all love Blue Rhino. If you appreciate Blue Rhino, hit the thumbs up.
Blue Rhino is a hooah.
Oh,
he's a hooah.
You notice, by the way, in that fan's postcard, she said, and Blue Rhino is so cute. Blue Rhino gets all the pretty girls.
Yeah. And we end up with his leftovers.
Yeah,
Popcorn the Band. Every time Popcorn the Band plays, and by the way, we never sold out Long Beach Arena either, so we're right on par with Dokken. Every time we play Blue Rhino, it's like we just sit by the door like roadies. In fact, Blue Rhino, then roadies, then us.
Yeah, and what's really funny is Blue Rhino doesn't, he just likes to cuddle. He's a sweet, innocent rhino. We're horny as rabbits. We need all these groupies, and we can't get them until Blue Rhino basically meets and greets and cuddles and gets a hug and a kiss from everyone. And we don't, we just don't get that. It's not the same. So
I feel like Blue Rhino's good-looking best friend.
I know, right? That's my identity as Blue Rhino's daddy, his adopted father. That's basically what people know me as. It's not from the show. It's not from anything else. It's as Blue Rhino's adopted father. That's
Paul. Hi, Paul. Hi. My name's Mandy. Hi, Mandy. Nice to meet you. Do you know Blue Rhino? Shit.
It's like knowing Blas Elias. It's like everyone wants to meet Blas.
You mentioned Blas. Blas is the ultimate whore. Like, he's the better looking version of Mike Portnoy. Blas is in more bands than Courtney Love has had cocks in her. I mean, Blas is in every year when TSO comes to Phoenix, I'm like, "What's up, Blas? Good to see you, bro." Again, another one of the nicest guys in the world, but just when Blast walks in the room, the humidity level rises exponentially because every girl in the place goes, bless.
I know, right? I'm a
not
straight
wrong.
man and I do that. No, you're not. Let's see. By the way, speaking of Popcorn the band, I'm not even going to mention get into JoJo's temperance or anything. We might actually be replacing her with a listener, Mary Beth, who plays the light up tambourine. So JoJo,
Yeah,
you better watch yourself because you're on the chopping block, buddy. If you want to
Mary
stay
Beth.
in the band,
Mary Beth can drop a sleeper hold on you like nobody's business.
that's what I heard. She'll defend us. We need that.
Yeah. Yep.
We need that. All right, so let's see. So that's as far as that goes. Let's bang out a couple more music news, because I'll get the fast ones out. Alcatraz. We were talking about the new album last week. Their new single "Polar Bear" is dropped. It's this video on YouTube. You can check it out. Very cool, neoclassical, hard driving. Very, 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 very good vocals as expected. And the album overall across the board reviews has been rating in the 8 to 8.5 range. So if you like old Alcatraz, the new album doing very well. I'm glad to hear that. I really am. Let's see. Brian Johnson gave an interview. Brian Johnson of AC/DC. And they were asking him, what was the first album you bought? And he says, the first album I bought was the first album I actually stole. A friend of mine worked at the music shop, and she said, well, over there's some albums by the door. You should probably take one on your way out and just see if you could get to the door with it. So he basically stuffed, it was a Bob Dylan album, and he stuffed it under his shirt. And he says, as he's walking out, people were looking at him because it looked like he had two very hard nipples sticking out of his shirt because his shirt was like this with the actual album under his shirt. So he's kind of, yeah, he's trying to be non-conspicuous while his shirt's like this.
I stole my Led Zeppelin box set. The first 4 CD box set.
Really?
Stole it from a is it a Record Town or a Music World or a Tape World or something like that in Natick, Massachusetts. Buddy of mine worked there, and he bet me I couldn't get out the store with it. And he worked there, so he was on the clock, but his manager was there and stuff. And I walked in and wear a pair of sweatpants and a Boston Bruins hockey jersey, and was able.
You were looking like Kevin Smith with a big hockey jersey.
Basically, yeah. And see, I'm not a small guy, so this just worked perfectly.
Nice. Well, there are those nipples he was talking about.
But see, and then with a hockey jersey on, it's almost you can't see it.
Oh, sure.
So yeah, I golfed it. And this was. I'd like to apologize, and I think the place is closed now, so I can admit to Natick, Massachusetts,
the
Tape World or
Tape World.
Statute of limitations is gone. You mean there's not still a place called Tape World?
Yeah. So
we got your cassettes. You want cassettes? We got your cassettes. Can't find cassettes anymore. Bet you go to Best Buy and can't find cassettes. We have
Dream World.
Look at all the cassettes. Yeah.
Yep. So yeah, snag that.
Ryan
Johnson. That's the only thing I have in common with Ryan Johnson.
Going down, Johnny, we okay if we go a few minutes over?
Few. Where are we? We're 144.47.
Okay, so we'll go a few minutes over the 2-hour mark. Let's see. Dee Snider was telling a great story about when he was recording Stay Hungry. He said the initial producer did not want their 2 biggest hits on the album. He did not like We're Not Gonna Take It and I Want to Rock. And Dee fought tooth and nail to get those on. He said they're great songs, they're anthemish, they will be popular. Trust me. And he said no. Instead, the producer wanted them to re-record 2 Saxon songs. He's like, look, these are great songs. And Dee's like, yeah, they're great songs. They're Saxon. Yeah, but they're not very popular in the States. We've toured with them. We know who they are. They're Saxon. Yeah, but not a lot of people know them. They're big in Europe. They're Saxon. We know who they are. Yeah, but these songs will go over well if you record them fresh. I don't want to record Saxon. I want to do Twisted Sister. Yeah, but you got to make sure that you get some really good songs, and these are good songs. No, I really want to do these 2 songs. And Dee put his foot down, and they went back and forth, and finally he's like, okay, it's on you. And sure enough, Dee was right, because that was Twisted Sister's big breakout moment. Those 2 songs on the Stay Hungry album. So
what were the Saxon songs?
I don't know, but they were from an album of that time period that were like maybe came out a year before Stay Hungry. So whatever they were, I mean, either way, it's too new and it's another band anyway.
I know. I'm just trying to think because I'm a huge Saxon fan.
As am I.
All their stuff. Yeah, I have all their stuff. It would have to be something off of Denim and Leather or Strong Arm of the Law.
I mean, look,
Power in the Glory, maybe.
Power in the Glory Hole.
Possibly, yeah. I mean, I'm a huge Saxon fan.
Hold on. Speaking of Glory Holes,
I gotta get the plug.
Thank you, Bang Energy Drink, for your wonderful product and signage. Thank you, Bang. So we really appreciate that.
And the Glory Hole.
Yes. Thank you for the promotion. Everyone's got a better look at it now, I'm sure.
Yeah. The interesting thing about the Glory Hole is that place is busy on Sundays.
You bet. How do you think we keep the show alive? That, and of course, thank you to Swiss Picks, another sponsor of ours we're whipping through today.
Someday I'll get them.
So you will. They're mailed to you and Johnny. So by next week's show, you will. Let's see. So that's Steve Snyder in the news.
No Metal Soda. It's not Ride Like the Wind. That's a Christopher Cross song that ended Saxon's chances of any success in the United States.
And Break Like the Wind is also not them. That
would be Spinal Tap.
That is Spinal Tap's second album, third album?
Second
album.
Second album. There you go.
It was like 10
years.
years.
Well, technically like their ninth album because
Smell the Glove.
Shock Sandwich, Intravenous to Milo. Yeah, I know.
Let's see. New Journey album is in the works and about halfway done.
Now, do you care? Do you care because it's basically Neil Schon and Jonathan Cain and a bunch of scabs?
I mean, here's the thing. I like Neil Schon. Do I wish Steve Perry was back in at this later date? You fucking bet. But I'll take any Journey right now that I can get. Even half a loaf to me is better than no loaf. That's the way I'm looking at it. Is it what I want? No, but it's like a new Rat album. I want it with Warren. Will I take hearing Stephen Pearcy? Sure. Other guitarists? Sure. Is it Warren? No. Do I want it with Warren? Yeah. Same thing with Journey. I'd rather it be with Steve Perry, but I'll take it.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. Something just rolled across your floor.
Yeah, that's the ball that Ace is trying to get me to play with. See, he's trying to force it on me.
The other day,
no means no. No means no.
The other day, you posted that HSAS video from San Jose.
HSAS is fantastic.
HSAS. Yes. How did you? I was watching that video the night before.
Oh, no kidding.
Like I was sitting there watching that. I'm wondering if our YouTubes are connected. And did you just happen to see it, or did you actually look it up?
No, I was listening to the record. I own the record. I love the record. HSAS is my favorite thing that Sammy Hagar and Neil Schon have ever done. For those that don't know what it is, it's funny because Chickenfoot was supposed to be HSAS 2 because it was Hagar, Satriani, Anthony, and Chad Smith. So it was HSAS.
Right.
It was a record. Yeah. It was a record that came out in the early 80s. 1984 it was released. They did 6 live shows, and a couple of them in San Jose. They were recorded. The album was called Through the Fire. And the only thing the only thing notable on the record is they did a cover of Procol Harum's Whiter Shade of Pale. That's the worst song on the record. And it's a great song. The point I'm trying to make is this is a record. It was a live album that was released in 1984 on Geffen Records. It's been re-released a couple of different times. Griffin Records, I think, put it out. Grand Slam, I think, has put it out as well. But they basically recorded these shows, these live shows, and released the album with no crowd noise. So it's basically it's like a board mix of Neil Schon from Journey, Sammy Hagar, and Kenny Aronson and Michael Shreve from the Santana Band, who obviously played with Neil Schon and Santana. So it's essentially Sammy Hagar with 3 guys from Santana, and just a fantastic hard rock record with some prog rock overtones to it. And Sammy's vocal performance on that record is the best thing he's ever recorded, in my opinion.
That's phenomenal. What you were saying. That's what you were saying on Facebook. I saw that and I was like, "What is this?" Because I hadn't heard of it. I wasn't familiar at all.
You would like it. You would like it. HSAS is the name of the band. Hagar, Schon, Aronson, Shreve. And to try and find that, you can probably find it on Amazon now.
Can I find it in your library? Can I find it in your library?
As a matter of fact, you can.
Maybe you could burn me a copy. Maybe you could burn me a copy.
I just think it's bizarre
that right now
that I was watching that like the night before. Then that next morning you post that.
Paul's burning me a copy right now. This is great.
It was so weird.
I might.
I always liked the first song, "Top of the Rock." I thought that was the best song on the record.
Yes, that was
By the way-
Missing You was the single.
Yeah.
Missing You was the single, and then Top of the Rock was something that did get service. Here you go. That's what the album cover looks like.
Yeah.
Well, make me a color photocopy when you burn me a copy. That's cool.
HSAS, Through the Fire.
That's cool.
And it's a great record. They did it in San Jose at the whatever the arena is there in San Jose.
I love shit like that.
The main
Yeah,
arena.
it was a one-off thing. Early days of MTV. They did play a couple of the videos. Missing You and Top of the Rock got played.
They did
There's
a
like
whole concert.
Yeah, there used to be a VHS of that out there, and you can find it on YouTube. But this is, if you ever wondered if Sammy Hagar was a decent singer, when he's got good songs, he's really, obviously we know this now that he's been in Van Halen, but this was before Sammy Hagar even had his 15 minutes of being, a theater headliner. This came before, like I Can't Drive 55. And this
What
came
year?
before,
What year was that specifically?
They did it in 83, but it was released in 84. So it was right around the same time that VOA came out.
That's
Okay.
that HSAS. That's probably. I bet you Van Halen when they were before Claudio said call Sammy. I bet you.
So why don't you call Sammy?
I bet you they listened to that album.
I have no doubt. This was on Geffen Records, so Sammy's label put it out. It was a weird one-off thing. It didn't get a whole lot of promotion, but what a great record. This is a great sort of lost classic rock record, hard rock record from the early 80s that you should be aware of.
I have it on vinyl.
I have it as soon as you burn me a copy. By the way, thank you, Hardwood Steaks, for the nice words. Thank you, everybody in the chat. We love you. We really love our audience. Okay, let's get to the big story of. I call it the big story of the month because I was doing a lot of reading on it today. And speaking of big story of the month, the great Jay Hannon of the band Gizmachi in the chat right now. Welcome, Jay.
Yeah, it's great talking to you today, Jay.
Okay, so let's get through this. We were talking about the studio tour with Live Nation. We were talking about all that. Here's the big deal. Live Nation recently came out. And Johnny, you'll have to bring this up because there's a lot of specifics on it. Live Nation basically just announced that they have changed their Are you hearing an echo? Who's got their monitor on?
What?
Nope.
No.
Okay.
I hear that.
That's a ring. I hear a ring.
I heard a ring. Yeah, that was weird.
What
That's not I don't hear an echo, but I'm hearing like a ring. It's like a.
That's
just
like
an echo.
that's feedback. That's something's going to feed back in a second.
Oh, good. I'm probably going to get electrocuted before I get the story out. Okay, Johnny,
just do it on camera so we can get the the.
Oh, no, listen. I've always said if I'm going to drop dead, it's going to be for rating.
Yeah,
it's going to be for the fans. We like to do it for the fans.
And a nominal
fee.
Nominal fee. Yep.
Yeah. So the thing is, and Johnny, bring this up. The Live Nation announced new terms now for any bands that are doing live concert shows under them. And this is fucking draconian.
Yep.
Let's bring up the terms.
This is essentially, I remember seeing, I think it was Charlie Benante wrote an op-ed about this, about how bands should refuse. This is another one of those opportunities for bands to sort of revolt against the promoters and stuff, because it's essentially an indentured servitude type deal where the bands are going to have to take responsibility for all kinds of things that they don't take responsibility. It's not their job. When you're a promoter and a concert tour promoter, that's what you're being paid to do. You get your percentage of the profits for all of the duties that Live Nation is trying to now dump on the artist and make the artist responsible for. Artists have guarantees.
And they're
Go ahead.
blaming this. They're saying, well, this is because of the COVID. We're all suffering. Yeah, Live Nation, I feel bad for you. I don't feel bad for any of the artists out of work. I don't feel bad for any of the artists that have, like we were saying earlier, roadies and workers and lighting guys and gaffers and truck drivers. I don't feel bad for any of those, Live Nation. I feel bad for you because you're not making enough money. So here's basically
you
what
charge
they're saying.
$17
We're fully
fucking
aware of
dollars for a beer.
Yeah.
I mean,
A light one.
You charge $17 for a fucking keg beer in your venues. Don't cry poor mouth to me. Stop it.
Yeah. Live Nation puts out a statement. We are fully aware of the significance of these changes and did not make these changes without serious consideration. Yeah, I think the only consideration they had was greed and how much they're going to fuck the artists. So here's the highlights of some of their new terms. They are going to be, 20% smaller guarantees across the board promised to artists. So artists are going to only get paid for shows 80% of what they were going to make. That's for starters. So right off the top, they're now getting 20% less per shows. If a show gets canceled due to poor ticket sales, the artist who is normally guaranteed 100% from promoters now only gets 25% of sales guaranteed. So something out of their hands, 25% rather than 100%. These are guarantees that they would normally get a full pop for. And keep
I have
in
a
mind,
question.
Hold on. Keep in mind, the artists have to pay out their crews and stuff. Go ahead, Paulie.
I have a question. Will ticket prices be 20% lower, and will concessions be 20% more affordable in the venues? Suck my dick.
That's it. Exactly. Now here's the big one. This is
so let me get this straight. Live Nation's profit margins increase while the people that are putting asses in the seats get paid less money.
And their crews. Their crews all get fucked. And wait, it gets way better. This is my favorite one. If an artist cancels a performance in breach of contract, normally they would basically, they would be in a position of, okay, we're going to, cover expenses, blah, blah, blah. Not now. Now they have to pay the promoter. The artist has to pay Live Nation 2 times the fee that the artist is making. So if the Rolling Stones have a night, for instance, that they're making $1 million for this concert show, they cancel. They don't just
because Charlie Watts has a fucking stroke.
Right. They don't just
somebody in the band strokes out and they have to cancel.
Yeah. They don't just give the money back to everyone and cover some losses. No. They have to give their fee times 2. So if they were going to make $1 million for that night, they have to pay Live Nation a penalty of $2 fucking million. Like a fist fucking.
Wait a minute. I have a question.
Shoot.
Will the band be the beneficiary of any insurance policies on the tour?
No, it's their
Suck my dick.
It's their responsibility now, which was formerly the promoter's responsibility, to get insurance to cover things like that. So now that which was previously on the promoter is on the band's expense list. The band now has to get insurance. Go ahead. Got a question?
I have a question. What does the promoter do?
I don't even know if the promoter would know what they do. I don't think they do very much at all.
So the band takes responsibility for all the financials. So the band, basically the promoter is renting the hall. That's all the promoter does, and they get their percentage.
That's what they do now.
Yeah. Now they don't really promote the tour.
Previously, the promoter did everything. They covered insurance. They set up the venue. They arranged hotels and accommodation. By the way, that now, hotels, accommodations, on the band.
Now, here's the thing. What people don't understand. The artist has what they call a guarantee. That means the artist gets paid. So let me unless they get a percentage of the door, it's a package deal. But let's just say the band gets $100,000. By the way, that's on the low side. Some bands are getting 7 figures. The Rolling Stones get well over $1 million a show. But let's just say the band gets $100,000. All right. And the place holds 25,000 people, and they charge a tier schedule of tickets, $75 per ticket. 75 times 25,000. Do the math and then see how much money the promoter is making in profit. Are you kidding me?
Ton of money.
Are you kidding me? That's not even counting concessions, which they're getting $17 a pour for a cup, for a 20-ounce cup of beer. That's probably, if it's $1 a pour, I'd be shocked. So they're getting $17 a pour on that. They're getting a percentage of merch. So that $60 t-shirt that you're paying for, that $60 t-shirt like this, that's going to fucking fall apart after 25 washes. $15 of that goes to the promoter. The $12 hot dog is going to the promoter. I mean, they're making all of this money, and they're fisting the artist right now. Now, don't get me wrong. If ticket prices become more affordable, if they sit back and say, hey, if that $75 ticket times 25,000 suddenly becomes $35, 35 times 25,000 is still great money.
But it's not, that's not going to happen.
I understand that.
They've put in this announcement. By the way, there's a lot more to read. Wait. Ticket prices are set by the promoter at the promoter's sole discretion and are subject to change. It's not getting lower. I don't see them passing the savings onto the consumer. They're basically saying, look, we lost a lot of money this year in concert promotions. We need to share a lot of that money with the artists. And when I say share that money, they mean share the expenses, not the profits. Mm-hmm. So they're putting more burden for a pandemic-like disaster onto the artists because, look, they're a corporation, they're making money, but they're screwing them. And wait, there's more. Payment terms. Artists will receive a deposit of 10% 1 month before the festival. Now, remember, artists used to get big advances that they would use to pay out expenses,
yes.
to pay out expenses, to rent trucks, to buy lighting rigs, to rent equipment, to et cetera, to pay salaries until this thing gets off the road. Because keep in mind, planning a tour, if you're a lighting guy and you're booked for this tour, you're off the road for a while you're reserved for this tour. So you need some of that advanced money that they would normally give you. You're not getting that now. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So,
and it used to be if a show didn't sell out, there used to be a provision in a contract, and I don't know how many bands still do this, but I know that some bands do this. What they do is, let's say the show goes on sale. What are we in, July 7th? There's a show scheduled in October. Tickets go on sale this Friday. All right. First week of September, second week of September, 4 to 6 weeks out of the show, they call the venue in the city and they say, how's the show selling? And they say, well, the tickets aren't really selling. The band agrees to not perform and to reschedule and to allow the concert promoter to only take a 50% loss. Normally, that's how it used to be. In other words, the band agrees not to play for half of their salary so that the venue, the promoter, can stop the bleeding right now and realize, hey, I'm not going to take $1 million loss on this show. I'll get it back on another tour. You know what I mean? Because concert promoters, and again, let's give credit where credit is due. Concert promoters do assume all of the risk. To pay a band $1 million a show, they got to fill that arena. They got to fill that 25,000 seat arena. Bent Tom did the math. $1.875 million if they sell the place out at $75 a pop. Every seat in the place is sold. Okay, great. Now add $20 for parking. And now add, $35 to $60 for a shirt. Add $17 per beer. Let's just say you sell 8,000 or 9,000 beers. Let's just say 33% of the arena buys a beer. Now start doing the math. They take all of that risk, all of that assumption. So the promoter does assume a ton of risk. Understandable that when something like COVID happens, they're getting killed. The promoters are getting killed right now. There's no doubt about that. But there's no reason why. And this was happening before COVID. This was the economics of the concert industry. The fact of the matter is a lot of these big festivals and a lot of these big tours aren't drawing the way they used to because, quite frankly, Kids don't have the money to pay $200 to see a fucking band. And adults have more important things to spend their money on. So they're trying to redefine the concert industry. Nobody is buying records, so bands need to charge prices as high as the balls on a giraffe to get people to come to see their shows. So, I mean, and we can go on like this for another hour, but I know John needs to get to where we're going to.
I still need to bang out a couple of things in this story, though, just so everyone's aware of what's going on. Let's see. Minimum marketing requirements. Artists are now required to assist in the marketing of the festival through a minimum amount of social media posting requirements outlined in all artist offers. So now promotion is not just from the promoter. Yeah, this isn't costing money, but now you're required. Chances are they're doing it anyway. Not a big thing. There's a certain amount of streaming rights that also is usually included. Festival billing at the sole discretion of the promoter. Merchandise. This is a new one. Purchaser will retain 30% of the artist merch sales and send 70% to the artist within 2 weeks following the festival. So the promoter is taking now 30% of the merch sales. That's a lot of money nowadays, boys and girls. That's a lot of money. All right, nowadays.
let's do it for you. 30%. Let's say it's a $60 concert T-shirt. So let's assume $20 or $18.
They're not even.
And let's say they're
$30 for a shirt.
All right, let's just say they're $30 for a shirt. All right, 30% of $30 is $10 a shirt. $10 a shirt times, if it's a 25,000 seat arena, let's say half of the people in the arena buy a T-shirt.
Fair number.
All right.
So you're at 12.5.
So, yeah. Times $10. That's another 125,000.
No, times $10, 12, that's yeah. I'm sorry. You're right. It's
another 125,000. I was just listening. I wanted to smell your last synapse firing. Yeah. So that's another $125,000.
That's a big chunk. That's not going to the artist.
By the way, all of this in 4 hours. Remember, the show starts at 7:30. Now, don't get me wrong. The venue opens at 5 o'clock. Everybody has to come in and do their work. But the promoter is getting another $125,000 on top of the 1.875. So remember, $1 million of that goes right to the band. So 875,000 plus the 125,000. We're now at $1 million profit on just ticket sales and merch. Not counting concessions, not counting parking, and what other ancillary things that happen when they're inside the arena. So they're already making $1 million profit. Why does the artist have to take that hit?
Wait, it gets better. Airfare and accommodations, sole responsibility of the artist. Sponsorship, this is good. The promoter controls all sponsorship at the festival without any restrictions. Artists may not promote bands on stage or in its productions. So they're getting involved in that. Insurance, the artist is required to maintain cancellation insurance, not the promoter. Promoter is not responsible, but they're getting fees if something happens like a COVID. Let's see, specific. The artist is required to maintain its own cancellation insurance, as the promoter is not responsible for the artist fee in the event of a cancellation of the festival due to weather or force majeure like COVID. And cancellation by artist, double the artist's fee. Big deals. So with all this said, in a nutshell, it is put such a burden now on the artists and taken a chunk of the artist's money. And now the artist, God forbid, cancels a show to lose double their full payment of that show and responsibilities. So Gary Holt of Exodus, Scott Ian of Anthrax, and a few other artists, or a lot of artists, are starting to basically speak out and call it the death of concerts as we know it. And they feel that the bigger headliners, like a Rolling Stones or something, will reject that, and that Live Nation will maybe bend to them, because without them, there's no concert. But the medium level guys, like an Anthrax or an Exodus, will get the shaft because they don't have that negotiating power. Do you see what I'm saying?
And I get it. This will be the end of festival shows too.
That's what they're saying. Because
if you're talking about 10 bands on a festival, who's going to assume the responsibility? All of these bands,
except the headliner.
Now they're splitting the cost, the responsibility of the show amongst 10 different bands or 15 different bands, but the promoter still gets their fucking 100% of their profits, of their portion of the profits. So everybody else takes a hit except the promoter.
Yeah, and that's basically the deal. So this is a horrible announcement from Live Nation. A lot of artists are talking about boycotting them, but again, these are the guys that are running the concerts now.
And it's essentially a monopoly. There are two different big companies. There's Live Nation and the hell's the one that does the one in Columbus that's there. Basically, it's a guy named Joe Litvag who does a great job. He's a great promoter in the Midwest. But there are two major concert touring companies, promoting companies. Live Nation is by far the biggest one. They essentially have a monopoly on the industry, and it's going to be very difficult for anybody to compete with that. In the end, what's going to happen is ticket prices are going to go up.
Yeah, because less artists are gonna play by these rules, and the ones that do are gonna get really screwed. Imagine fucking Vinnie Vincent. Every concert he cancels, every fucking one. He's gonna he's gonna go back into hiding. Thank you, Papa Blue.
By the way, AEG is the company I was talking about. AEG.
Yeah, so there it is. That's basically the big story of the month. A lot of metal guys and a lot of artists in general are up in arms over Live Nation's draconian, unreasonable new terms for concerts. And a lot of people feel between that and what's going on right now, we're going to be losing a lot of live music opportunities. Thank God for the smaller bands that are trying to save the smaller venues like the Troubadour and stuff like that. But for the big shows, that's a big sticking point for everybody, you and me both.
Well, and here's what's going to happen. The whole thing is just going to have to be revamped and blown up and started over again. And this puts it back on us as fans. When all of the lockdown and everything opens up fully again, the faster the better. Get out and support a show. Go to a show. Go to a show. Remember all the time you spent sitting in front of your television or bitching or watching this stupid program every week and saying, Jesus, I wish I had a better option than this. I really wish.
I say that every week when we come on.
Are you kidding me? At 4:50 every time, 4:50 p.m. when John's like, hey, we got to go live in 10 minutes. And I'm like, I'm on my show call. I think to myself, I hope the show call goes for another 3 hours because I don't want to do this. It's a Tuesday night. I have other things I can be doing with my fucking days. But no, I'm here. And you know why I'm here? For you, the fans.
We are here for the fans. So look, we're
cutting
so
Johnny can get out of here.
We're cutting out early tonight, but just saying, everyone, please wear a mask, be smart, be safe, social distance. And remember, most of all, you, our audience, are incredibly important to us. We do this for you. We love you. Thank you, Bang Energy Drinks. Thank you, Swiss Picks. And thank you all fans. We love you. Leave comments. We answer them. Leave likes, please. And thank you. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. Rock on.
Love you all.
Love you all.
See you guys.
Credits. We got credits.
Friday.
We got credits. Let's read the
we
credit
have to read
card.
Credits?
Yes, we do. Because Johnny's like, all right.
You can read them. I already have them in the outro, but you can read them if you want.
Yeah, I like to.
All right, Hellface, some Dave Dude, James Gum, 802 Blues, Mr. BHB, Junior Frag, 5150, Jesus Rapes Me, William Bill Spruce, Frank Corcoran, Thomas Santiago, Brian Spalding, Fender Guru, Music Therapy, Laz, he said in English, Ghost BC Rich, Hugh Caldwell, Jim Nicholas, Connor Johnson, 5150, Steve Carmichael, and Makuta is a
Mancuda is a dildo fucker.
I love the that's a very difficult font to read.
That really is a difficult font, Johnny. I don't know what you were thinking. Thank you to our channel members.
It's gonna get worse.
I know, right? Thank you to our channel. Johnny's going to put him in micro writing. Thank you to our channel members, Charles Green, Fruitcake Tony, Michael the Captain Smith, Jason Wade, Mike Neese, Mickey Settlemeyer, Joe Christian, Nicole Mrazek, Sean Boland, Linny Lou, and Mary, Crazy Cook 678, and Mary. Crazy Cook 678, Bo Zeke, Julia Baldassari, Baldassari,
Close enough.
Baldassari, thank you. False Flag, David Ennis, Richard Poole.
Oh,
Johnny,
Welcome
we
back
got
to the
enough-
show, Johnny.
you got. This is why Johnny may have to go. That like
You might have to go.
just like Gina Lee said in the car.
But John has said you got to go. See, he's gone.
Oh no, I'd miss him, and it's his show.
I know. All of this is his show.
He owns the channel. He's the mogul.
I know. This is the weird. He's the Ted Turner of the internet.
But we're still under the boss thumb of our executive producers.
Yes.
So thank you.
Let's see. Okay. All right. Thank you for watching, everybody. See you guys Friday, maybe Thursday.
on
Friday.
What do we got Thursday?
And what else?
What's Thursday? What's Thursday?
I don't know. I might have an upload of something. I've got all these reviews I got to do.
All right. Well, also watch Nez Says on Thursday. We like Dave Nesdahl as well. So watch everyone. Watch and watch us on Friday too.
Watch your mouth.
Yeah.
There
And
you
Saturday.
go. Yeah,
And
and Saturday and Saturday.
Saturday Night Live, the John Beal special.
Ah,
Yes.
Well, there'll be a semi unboxing on Saturday. We will start to see one of our semi famous friends got a very, very important guitar as part of his corporate shilling, and we'll have a chance to talk about his brand new guitar.
and I know which one that is. So that's very, very well looking forward to.
Yeah,
That's Saturday. Okay. Awesome.
That is.
yeah.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Thank you for watching. Leave a thumbs up, subscribe.
I hate long goodbyes.
Join as a channel member here on YouTube. Thank you, Amber, on Facebook.
Thank you, Amber, on Facebook.
All right. Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone. Be safe.